Here we go. We're recording. So greetings
Okay.
from LA. And let's just go right to it. Danny, welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me back. I can't believe how long it's been since we've spoken last.
Yeah.
Um, it feels like a long time. It feels like a short time, but I know we've both been busy. We've both been working 8 days a week. It's been
Ha
crazy.
ha ha ha.
Um,
I saw what you did there, by the way.
yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay.
There may be some bad puns during this conversation. Please
Okay.
forgive me in advance.
Okay. No problem. No
Yeah,
problem. No, the
yeah,
more the merrier. So actually,
yeah.
that's a really nice way to introduce today's topic. So Danny is a sort of Renaissance person extraordinaire, person of many talents, as you know. Film, art, just wonderful all around, just artist and actor, and just appreciator of all things, including one particular topic or one particular band, which is the Beatles. So.
Yes.
Danny and I have been talking a lot offline, and we thought, oh, what the heck? Why not just bring this to sort of a discussion here? So you very kindly uh, agreed to come on again as a guest, and so we're going to talk about the Beatles today. So it's a film. Generally, it's a film-related channel, so we'll try to steer the conversation to some film-related topics. But yes, Beatles and film, how we got into the Beatles, and some questions along the way. So I have, and I've already told Danny this, but I haven't told you the questions. I've
No.
listed a number of questions that I will hope to maybe use to try to guide our conversation along today. So I might bring them up along the way here, and I might try to hop on your comments as they emerge. And I know you'll have so many great things to say about this wonderful topic called the Beatles. I mean, are you all set? Are you ready to go here?
I'm all set. I have the Beatles' first US visit gigantic cardboard cutout over here.
Okay.
I got that from a Blockbuster video back in probably 1991 when that was released. And I've had it ever since. Somehow it's maintained its strong form and it's not creased or beat up, which is pretty impressive. Um, yeah, absolutely. I remember you were a guest on a podcast recently. I believe it was KB Loves Movies,
Yeah.
and I sent in a question. He asked for questions from fans of the channel, so I sent it in saying, "What's your favorite Beatles movie?" And I think that really galvanized our excitement to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, by the way. Yes, it was nice to get in, because Beatles have just been just part of my life for so long, and I know you as well.
yes,
So
yeah.
I think okay, here we go. So why don't I do this? Let me start with one of the questions. I think this will guide us into where I think we can go. So, and you can take the questions however you want. Answer them in any way. You can interpret them in any way. So let me take one of them. Just
Okay.
I think is a good one to start with. Very
Hmm.
very simple. Very simple. So okay, um, what is the Beatles album that you say you listen to the most?
Every question I'll have that response first, like, oh,
Okay.
it's so hard to choose, right?
Mhm.
Like when people say, "What's your favorite Beatles song?" It's hard to choose your favorite Beatles album, even.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and I feel like it changes. If you asked me this 6 months ago, it would be a different answer than today. It'll be a different answer in 3 months. Right now, it appears to be the White Album. Um, I, I mean, everything from Rubber Soul forward are the ones in most heavy rotation. I rarely go back to, with the Beatles or things like that. Sometimes I do, of course, and I get in that earlier mood. Um, but the White Album is just so, as you know, some of the Beatles say it's too much information. Like Ringo has said, it's a lot of information. And George Martin has said, I wish we had, condensed it and compressed it to one solid, good single album. But he says, but some people say it's their favorite album. So horses for courses. And
That's right.
George, you know,
Horses for courses. That's right.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Quoting from the anthology, which I know you're
Yes.
you're a fan of all this stuff, so you know all this. But
Yes. Yes.
um, And George, I think, says, I think a lot of George is a hilarious character in the Beatles who always has this, you could say like a pessimistic comment or a negative spin, but he's still so endearing. Like
Yeah,
he's still part of our tribe, and we need that to balance out Paul's jovial, chipper attitude.
yeah,
So George, I think, says, some of those songs could have been saved for B-sides, or,
yep,
there was a
true.
lot of ego in the band.
Yes,
These songs could have been elbowed out, but
yes.
and then it cuts to Paul, who famously says,
Oh gosh, yeah.
you know, it sold, it's the Bloody Beatles White Album. It sold, it's great. Shut up,
Good.
right?
And it cuts right to Revolution. Yes.
Yeah.
So yes. So the we should say yes. The anthology. I think we'll have a lot of quotations from the anthology, the documentary, maybe some other documentaries, some other movies. I
Oh
know you're a
yeah.
huge fan. I'll
Yeah.
try to keep up, but I've seen the anthology many, many times. Yes. So horses for courses.
Horses for
Uh,
courses. Yeah.
so, but
Yeah.
okay. So the White Album. Can you just let me know what was the like what was that feeling like when you first listened to the White Album for the first time in your life?
Well, my parents had a copy of it,
Yeah, great.
and I have a huge stack of albums here that were my parents from 1968 and the early ones, 63 onwards. I have through Plastic Ono Band, McCartney's solo albums, things like that. So I have many prized possessions, as I know you do too. Um, but one of my prized possessions, or one, collection that I prize, are all these albums and 45s that they have and things like that. So my earliest memory of the Beatles was listening to my parents' albums, and something that's one, number 850 thing that's amazing about the Beatles is they appeal to people of all ages, right? I think a 3-year-old can dance around to Oobla Dee Oobla Da. Um, and then a more mature listener, someone in their 80s, can, get a kick out of Happiness is a Warm Gun, and look into different meanings, different interpretations of that song. I think this is jam packed with great stuff. I mean, they all are, of course. I could have a Revolver Appreciation Month. I could go down Magical Mystery Tour, which I feel like is almost an underrated album. Um, but the White Album is they're just, and I know it's their most separate album. I think they had 3 recording studios going at the same time, where John was working on this, Paul was working on, Martha My Dear or something, and George was over there working on Long 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 or something, which I think Long 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 is the most underappreciated song. Nobody ever seems to talk about Long Long Long, and I love that track.
Oh, me too. Me too. Yes, it's very haunting.
Yeah.
It's and it's a nice. I was gonna say maybe it might sound like I'm demeaning the song, but not at all. But I think among its great traits, it serves as almost kind of like a palate cleanser
Mhm.
in a way, but it also has its own soul to it. So I think you're absolutely right. It doesn't get, well, maybe it doesn't. I'm just not familiar enough with sort of the online talk and the fan conversations. But yeah, it certainly deserves a lot of recognition as it should get. So you're absolutely right. It's a great, yeah, George song. Yeah.
I know. I feel like, probably on this album, uh, While My Guitar Gently Weeps is the George song that people talk about more often, right? And, possibly deservedly so. That's such an amazing contribution. But Long Long Long, saying it's haunting, that's the perfect word for it, perfect adjective for that.
Yeah, I love the ending of the oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the like the death rattle kind of. It's great. It's
Yes.
so great. Yeah.
They were always looking for a new
Yeah.
sound, right? They were
Yeah.
always looking for something.
That's right.
Let's lie on the floor and record vocals. I mean, they're the first ones to do backwards on a song, first ones to
Yeah.
incorporate feedback on a song, first ones to make a music
Sure.
video, first
Right.
ones. And it's just, I've said for decades that part of me likes to believe that they are time travelers from the
Mhm.
future who came back and scooped up all the good songs, all the good ideas, and just released them as their own, because they really were so innovative.
Mhm. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, so but that's a great choice, the White Album. But what would you say? And I'm not. I'm purposefully uh, uh, trying to not use the word favorite here, but again, you can interpret it as any way you like. But
Yeah.
you mentioned the White Albums. Okay, so what are some of the songs that you say you listen to the most on the White Album, and what are the songs that you say you listen to the least on the White Album?
Well, when you said palette cleanser, I almost feel like every track that happens is the palette cleanser from the last. They're all so different. You
Mm,
know, we can have like a big rocker, like I think Helter Skelter. I'm not sure if that goes into, no, that's actually goes into Long, Long, Long. But, you know, you
yeah,
think of a song like I Will, I Love, Julia.
yeah.
I think those are the first album closers back to back, if I'm correct. Yeah. Um, I Will and Julia are beautiful. Blackbird is great. Happiness is a Warm Gun is a great one. Um, I like when they do sort of these pastiche songs, Day in the Life on Sergeant Pepper. Happiness is a Warm Gun here. Um, you know, like later McCartney would do with Band on the Run or something, where they're sort of patching up these little pieces together. And Happiness, like I said, has so many interpretations you can play with. Um, yeah, and I think my least favorite song on that album
Mm,
is and there are things about I it was sort of always the one this one's on. I want to like pick up the needle and move it. But there are things within it that I like and appreciate. It is Piggies by George
okay,
Harrison.
okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't even know if I can articulate specifically why. Maybe it felt a bit twee. Maybe it felt a little too Animal Farm Orwellian on the nose. Maybe it was too, I don't know, but I love that sort of harpsichord in it, and there are things I like about it. And all this said, I'm glad it exists. Like even the songs that aren't my very favorites, it's all part of the whole. Like we need
Hmm.
that too, right?
Yeah,
Um, I like Everybody's Got Something to Hide except for Me and My Monkey.
yes.
And you know, I'm sure the George quote from the anthology when he's talking about the Maharishi, and
Yep.
this is something, you know, these were words in Maharishi it would say, except for the bit about the monkey. Yeah.
I I love those shades that he wears while he says that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, in his garden. Yeah.
Oh, there are
Yeah.
some funny wardrobe choices in the anthology. Like in the early parts of it, Paul's wearing a vest that looks like a placemat from Bed Bath and Beyond circa 1991. I'm not sure. And then you know, I know we both love Paul driving his boat.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that talking about, how he came up with yesterday.
Yeah.
Or something. He's and it,
Yeah.
he said and just, um yeah, it was great. Or like how he's saying how Frank Sinatra still thinks that something is his favorite Lennon McCartney record. Thanks, Frank.
Yes.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yes.
As he's like looking around to see if he can
Yes.
driving his boat. Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah,
great.
he's
Yeah.
looking around and kind of
My
checking the
gosh.
lanes,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And then
anyway.
later in the doc, he's like sitting by a campfire, a very staged campfire out in
Oh
the woods.
yes, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's got kind of a J. Crew ensemble, and he's stoking the fire. You know?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's so great. Yes. So and then oh yes, it's so wonderful. It's such a great sort of extension of their personalities, I think, just where they're being interviewed.
Oh
Um
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
and you get the Paul's. They get the MBEs right from the Queen, and Paul's
Mm.
like, "Oh, it was truly a great honor," and it cuts to George saying, you know, it was the lowest possible of honors. We helped them sell corduroy and make it swing, and they give us a piece of leather with a string through it.
I know it's amazing. Yeah, it just my gosh. Yeah, it's and then oh yeah, it just the anthology is so great. It's I can't recommend that enough. I just
Yeah,
think that's just such a classic. That's the way to do it in terms of. I mean, there have been great Beatles documentaries, past and present. Don't get me wrong, but that's I think just that's like the gold standard. I think in many ways of how to do it. I think.
especially because it's told in their words, and I feel like it was pitched that way back in the day when it was first on television,
Yep.
which I was glued to. I'm sure you were glued to. It was the anticipation was crazy,
Yep.
and it we knew it was going to end with a new song, a newly released song and music video for Free as a Bird, which I love Free as a Bird.
Me too.
And I love the video. That song is fantastic. And it gives you so many Beatle-esque moments, It gives you like little transistor voice, a little quirky ukulele coda at the end or
Yep.
tag at the end. There's so much happening. A little backwards at the end vocal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel very happy at the, I don't know how you feel. There's the other song that they released very recently, Now and Then, I think it's called. I feel very depressed when I hear that song. I don't know how you feel. It has a kind of downer feel to it for me, but Free as a Bird, I feel uplifted. I mean, Bird, I guess, but I feel uplifted. It's nostalgic, and it's talking about, it's singing about, and people, who are no longer with us, unfortunately, being part of this collaboration. And so, but it feels very wonderfully. It has that wonderful, almost like slow, and I mean this positively, but slow, almost tired feel to it.
Yeah.
And it's nice and slow, but it has a lo lovely melody to it, and I feel it feels very uplifting. I feel very uplifted when I hear that. I don't know, yeah, about the other one. I always feel kind of like depressed after I hear the new one, but I don't know how
Yeah.
you feel, but
Well, Free as a Bird is uplifting, and it's even literally musically, it like when George's slide guitar
mm,
enters, it comes in with such an uplifting. I wish I had the chords in front of me here so I could reference, but the chord change even and his slide
yeah,
is so rhapsodic, and it just brings you up. And it was so fun looking for all the Easter eggs in the video, like, oh, there's this reference, there's that reference, and I love that song. The specific when there's the backing vocals of the
yes,
and
yes,
that's echoed ah,
that's right.
and the note goes dun, home and
Mendra,
dry.
that's right.
That
Yeah,
dun.
and you see the
Um,
kite. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Benefit of Mr. Kite
Exactly.
and
Yeah, yeah.
and
Helter Skelter. Yeah.
Real Love, which came at that time too. I didn't wasn't my favorite, but I'm okay with it now. And Now and Then I just do not really like, and the video I don't like, and it just the production sounds too modern, and just I think it's time to leave well enough alone, and to quote Paul, just let it be. Like, don't let's not redo any old songs, and um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think it's great. It's really great. The body of work, it speaks for itself. So I think it's really great. But I share your sentiment for Free as a Bird. I just love to watch the video. Just watching all the little bits, like the blue meanie comes up at some
yeah.
point later, and you see like, John and Yoko dancing, a little clip there, and then you have just all the little. That was part of the fun, but uh
Mhm.
just and I just love I love the beginning, which is the it's some of it's shot for the video, and then they take, as the concept, they take some of the footage, the archival footage, and they kind of splice it and edit it in a
Yeah,
very clever way. So
yeah,
and it looks really great even now. But I loved how the beginning, where they had like the Liverpool, or was it the dock
yeah,
workers, the
yeah.
sort of, and it's sort of the idea of the Beatles are like lower class, but they're wearing their like like London swinging 60s kind of
Yeah, like
clothes.
Savile
Yeah,
Row
yeah,
suits,
it's amazing. Oh, I love it. It's so great. It's so great.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I love that so much. It's great. It's absolutely great. But
yeah. I feel like Lennon's father was a dock worker, wasn't he? I think John's dad might have worked on the docks and
that's
things,
the
but
link. Yeah, yeah, and of
and
course
then
there.
there's
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
no, but just now here's John with his Savile Row
Yeah.
bespoke suit.
Oh, it's great. It's sort
Yeah,
of it's the yeah, it's that I want to say it's that kind of the Strawberry Fields or post Strawberry Fields era. So that's great,
yeah.
absolutely great. But okay, so wonderful. So that's just one question.
Oh yeah,
Um,
gosh. I mean,
but
there's so many.
but okay, so that was your you mentioned the songs that you I should also say point out that all the songs you mentioned I'm absolutely in love with. I think the one that for me maybe I listen to the least is probably Good Night.
Yep.
simply because it's just it. I know it has to end, and so I always feel like I just don't want it to end, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I sort of hesitate to put that on. But I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, go for it. Yeah,
No, I'm sorry to interrupt. Like
no,
a
no,
child who's being tucked into bed. You don't want the night to end. You want
yeah.
your parent to stay with you and continue telling stories that take your mind away and or take your mind on these journeys. And maybe that's what you're, subconsciously likening it to. That's sort of like it's time for bed now and you don't want it to end.
So what's your take on something like Revolution Number Nine?
I love that it exists. I think yeah,
Great answer.
yeah, yeah. That's probably one I listen to the least, if I'm being honest. Although it's I'm an artist, it's brilliant. I'm so happy that's another kind of first they did. I think Paul did these sonic landscape experiments before John. I think he was doing that for like Tomorrow Never Knows on Revolver. That's Paul's sort of like, that squeaking, squawking, backwards seagull kind of sound. Paul was doing these sort of short artistic, I think he had access to, like, let's say the EMI library or something, and they had an album of birds, an album of this and that, and cars, and
Sure.
he was playing around with that stuff. I think Paul's um, was like John seems to get the label of the artist, but Paul, I mean, this guy was an artistic genius who came up with Sergeant Pepper and Magical Mystery Tour and all these really avant-garde endeavors.
Yeah.
Um, so, maybe John, I mean, they were around each other constantly. Maybe John was getting off on Paul's stuff too. He was, of course, and went off and made Revolution 9. Um, but yeah, I guess I should have just stopped at that. I'm glad it exists.
That's
That could
great.
have been
Because it's right. Because I love you're right. Because he was in Paul's words. I'm kind of jumping around too. Again, going back to the anthology.
yeah.
There's a bit where they're talking about Magical Mystery Tour, right? And they're like kind of like the tone of the conversation in there. It's kind of like, oh, who should we blame for the failure that's Magical Mystery Tour or something like that. That's kind of the tone. And so it's like like Paul said, came with a piece of paper and like, oh, with like a circle in it or something, you do this part. And then I think they interview Paul. Is it for Magical Mystery Tour where he says, a lot of those concepts could have been mine. Right. And I do
Yeah.
I do a terrible Paul McCartney impression, but it's like, because I was thinking Pepper and we could, pretend to not be the
Yeah.
band, but so a lot of those concepts could have been mine. So
Could
he's
have
kind of
been
like,
mine.
yeah, he's kind of like trying to sort of claim that, to sort of say that he, made up this stuff, but he doesn't want to take the blame for it. That's so great. I love
I
it
know
could have
because
been mine. Yeah.
yes,
It's so great.
because he's always perceived as by the public like, hey man, you're like you boss them around in the latter years. This and that. He's like, hey, like when Apple Core was starting, they
Right.
were signing bands. And, Paul's like, I may have produced more than the other guys. I mean, I'm not sure. I think I did more than Ringo. In fact, I'm not sure what Ringo was even doing.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. It cuts. So yes, and he said I wasn't as involved as the others, right? Yeah, that's what he says, right? Yeah, that's what Ringo says.
Yeah,
It cuts right. But
yeah,
yeah, that's right. So it's great because I love how when he's asked about Magical Mystery Tour, the first thing Paul does is they could because I was thinking about like, and he goes to Pepper, he goes to Sergeant Pepper because that's a
yeah,
crown
yeah.
jewel. So it's like, oh,
Yes,
it's so great, it's wonderful, absolutely
yeah.
wonderful. But
But as you know,
um,
important people studied Magical Mystery Tour in film school, right?
yes, yes, I've heard that Spielberg,
Yeah,
yeah, studied that as an art film
yeah. I
rather than a
love that.
proper film. Yeah, I love that too. It's so great. And
I
I, and
love
after
that,
that,
and I love that
is that
you
true? Is
that.
that true? I don't know. I don't know. I looked up on. I was trying to find out if like, oh, Spielberg spoke about Magical Mystery Tour online. I never could figure out that whether that really happened or not.
I know I can't find a Variety magazine article that quotes that or anything. Oh
Okay.
my gosh. People
Yeah,
like Spielberg.
that's so
People
great.
like Spielberg, yeah.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, people, it's so great. It's absolutely great. But okay, so actually that's good. So, Beatles, Spielberg, and Magical Mystery Tour. It will get. Oh, by the way, as I pull up my next question, what's your feeling about Magical Mystery Tour? Let's say the film. Let's talk about the film. What's your take on the film, the Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles?
I just went into Spielberg pose right here.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. When are you like Spielberg and like a Kubrick film? Once you turn it on, you can't turn it off. You just have to
Yes.
watch it.
Of
Okay, okay,
course.
okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. I like
Um,
this. Okay,
Coppola too. I'll throw in that mix.
okay,
Um,
great.
what would it be like if Kubrick directed a Beatles film? Um, so Magical Mystery Tour. What was your question about that film or
Yeah,
album?
just what's your take on what's your feel about the film? How do you respond to it?
I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So that's the album. So
That's the album,
yeah, let's go with the film first, and I'll transition to the album.
of
But
course. The film, I absolutely love it. To me, it's like a Louis Buñuel film,
you're right. I never
right?
thought of it before like
Yeah.
that, but you're right. Okay, yes, I'm sorry. Please continue. Yes.
I mean, it is. It's a surrealist, absurdist. I mean, John's name in that spaghetti scene when he's shoveling spaghetti onto Aunt Jessie's plate, Ringo's aunt. He's shoveling spaghetti. His name is Pirandello, right? Pirandello, this absurdist playwright. Um, and yeah, it is Paul's baby, and I like that he stands by it today, and it's just a great trip. Which I think that whole circle. Remember, Paul was talking about years earlier. He met Bob Dylan, and he spoke to him at a party, and Dylan like slipped him the answer to life, and he's like, I had to find Mal Evans and say, Mal, write this down, keep this in your pocket, like don't lose this. I have the answer to life. And it was like that there are 7 levels. And I think that ties into like a Timothy Leary book. Um, I can't remember the name of the book, but I think there's a Timothy Leary book that talks about the 7 levels of, let's say, a
Hmm.
recreational journey, to keep things G-rated here. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Um, and I think the Magical Mystery Tour follows those 7 levels. Um, yeah, which might be difficult to talk about here on this channel just to keep it, I want kids to watch this too and enjoy this. Um,
Yeah.
but I think it is actually deeper than expected. But I think there's so much good stuff in it. Paul says, it's the only footage of I Am the Walrus you're ever going to see, and for that alone, it's worth the price of admission, even
Yes.
though it's free on TV.
Yes. And
Uh,
in fact, the I am the walrus concept. You mentioned Kubrick before, but the I am the walrus concept reminds me a lot of sort of a similar looking figure that appears in The Shining.
yeah,
So I can never undo the link between those. It's great. You're right. It's um, that's the only I am the walrus sort of music film footage that you'll get, I guess. Yeah, which is really a real such a blast.
it's such a blast. I love it too in the beginning. Like they're just like waiting, and Paul has his bass, and then he kind of points back to Ringo to hit
Yeah,
that drum fill for the intro,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it is Shining esque, and even a shot like there's a little person in the film Magical Mystery Tour, and there's a scene where he's going to take a photo of a crowd, and he puts a little curtain. It's that old school camera where you put the curtain over yourself, and
Yeah,
he hits the whatever.
yeah,
And when he takes off the curtain, he has this big like lion mask on or bear mask, and that's Kubrick and The Shining esque too.
yeah,
They
yeah,
probably use the same prop department.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then just going from the and then what's your take on the songs? I mean, you had the album up a moment ago, so what's your take on the songs of Magical Mystery Tour?
I think it's great stuff. Good morning, Miss Winters, Miss
Miss
Winters.
Winters, Miss Winters, yes, yes,
Um, well, I think Blue Jay Way is on here, and that's
yes,
we have a street in Toronto named Blue Jays Way because our Toronto baseball team is the Blue Jays. So every time I pass that, I think of that, of course. And that's such a cool part of the film too. When I think they're in the tent and they watch the screen, and there's George sitting cross-legged on the floor playing piano.
yeah, on the chalk right on the ground there, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and there's like a little cup, like like a busker, like playing for wife and kids, like please, that reminds me of if you ever, I think it was the concert for New York, and David Bowie opened it playing Simon and Garfunkel's America, and he's sitting on the floor cross-legged with a tiny little keyboard. And to anybody watching this, I advise definitely go check that out. It's such a cool performance. Um, but yeah, I mean, things like I always like that Paul seems to be the one who he's always different from the others. On the back of Sergeant Pepper, he's going backwards. On the front of Abbey Road, he's barefoot. And in Magical Mystery Tour, the film, he's got the black carnation in Your Mother Should
Yep.
Know.
Yep. That's right.
Um,
That's right.
yeah. But yeah, Fool on the Hill is a great um, vignette in that film and great song. I think he said he snuck off to somewhere in France or something and shot that one day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. Overall, it's just a great selection of songs, and then they tie in so well in the film. Um, and so you kind of just look at the film and you can have one or two reactions, right? You can either just kind of wince in horror,
Yeah.
or you just have a good time with it because it's meant to be this type of almost, they definitely got a lot of their I mean, they share a lot of their humor beats with Richard Lester and all this, and it feels like a Richard Lester type of feel to it in a lot of ways, episodic. It's not that long, so it goes by really quickly. That's great. I think it's just a great time, a great time. Yes, I'm with Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous that it was aired in black and white,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
and on Boxing Day or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
get the family around the TV and watch this crazy trip.
Yeah. That's so
Um,
great. But
but when they're on the bus too, when the I don't know if he's called the coachman, like Jolly Jimmy Johnson or whatever,
mhm.
he's up at the front and he says, if you look to your left, the view is not very, inspiring. But if you look to your right, and it goes to Flying, the instrumental.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And those visuals, talk about Kubrick, that looks like
Yeah. Yeah.
2001,
Of
right?
course. Of course. Yes. Yes. You're
And it
right. Absolutely right.
precedes it precedes 2001.
Of course, of course, absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, and that's another great one. Flying, I love that track. I
Yeah,
love that track so much. But yeah, you're absolutely. It's very Kubrickian.
yeah.
This so Magical Mystery Tour. But oh, this is great. So this, Magical Mystery Tour. It's one of the films of the Beatles filmography. But let me go to this one, which is what are some of the films that you really like that in narrative films? Let's focus on narrative films rather than documentaries. But what are some of those narrative films that you really really enjoy? Some of your favorites in which one or more of the Beatles appear.
Oh wow. Um, hmm.
And you can answer this as in any way you like. You can provide as many answers as you like. You can interpret the question in any way you see fit.
It's well, I have some black holes or some, huge gaps in my Beatles appearing in other narrative films category. I haven't seen How I Won the War, and I haven't seen The Magic Christian, and those have always kind of been on my list, but I haven't seen them yet. And I think Dick Lester also directed How I Won the War, um, so that's sort of a must see. What else did they act in? I mean, because I'm thinking of, Give My Regards to Broad Street. That's not one
Sure.
of my favorites.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Um, it's too, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. I know.
yeah.
I know. I know. I know.
I love that you just know. I love our symbiotic thoughts here. Yeah, something that's not a documentary, because documentary wise, I love things like when John's making Imagine. I think there's one called Imagine, or Above Us Only Sky. Those documentaries I love.
Sure. Sure.
Love those, when he's up at Tittenhurst with Yoko and Julian running around the grounds and recording that album, bringing in Phil Spector and all that stuff. I love seeing. But narrative films, give me some examples.
Or you can answer, of the films that you've seen. And as I say, at least one of the Beatles has to appear. So that can mean one, two, three, or all four of them. So, of those films, which one would you say is your favorite, or among your favorites?
I mean, I can't even think of an example like other than Hard Day's Night, Help, things like that. Like
That's
what?
okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Well, those are too easy. I love them both for different reasons, but I mean, maybe like what did they appear in by other people? I'm blanking right now. Um, do you have some in mind?
Well, I was gonna say for me, I think I enjoy. I mean, you mentioned it before, but I really like How I Won the War.
Okay.
I think that is. I'll try not to mention too much about it, but I think that is that's stunning. It's weird. It's quirky. It's right up. It's almost like it's. Um, I think it has it's the same and yet different, but I think in that way it's a nice double feature with an earlier film, not by Richard Lester, but it's called The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. I think The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp and How I Won the War are like really great double feature. But that's probably my favorite or among my favorites. And then I would say, yeah, if we were to go with sort of maybe just more like narrative, I mean, let's go to them if you want. You know, Hard Day's Night or Help. Let's go to those. You know, I mean, you said that the obvious choice, but yeah, why would they be? Why are they so fun and among your favorites? Now, you know, just for you know, whatever reason you want to mention.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe I can't think of others like what George appears in as an actor, or like Ringo maybe was in a caveman movie. Like,
Sure, sure.
um, but yeah, I don't know. Those are like just peripheral films that have just haven't I haven't seen yet. I'm ashamed to say that as a Beatle fan. I
It's
mean, Hard
okay.
Day's Night and Help are so obvious, and they're so amazing for different reasons. When I was a little kid, I loved Help because it's so cartoony and silly and fun. And I think the music video portions in that are amazing documentations of them at that time. I love the music videos in that film. Actually, I think Help is there's a lot of sort of like prescient things in that film. There are things that almost predict future things the Beatles will do. We see the sitars playing in a
Yeah.
restaurant at one point.
Yes.
We see John with they go in costume near the end, and John has a long beard and round glasses when he's in that wheelchair, and that becomes his look later. Um, yeah, I can't think right now, but I
Eh,
remember watching. There are like six things like that. I'm like, that's Abbey Road. That's the White Album. That's yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And then I
Oh,
think
like
we were. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please. Go for
no. Just like the Ringo's in a basement, falls into a basement, and there's a tiger appearing in a window.
it.
And as a kid, I'm trying to link anything like a crazy conspiracy theorist, like, oh, he went out tiger hunting with his elephant and gun, or whatever that line is from White Album Bungalow Bill. And I'm linking all the albums to Help.
Yeah, I think Help is great. I wish they could release that in the Criterion Collection again. They had it on a Laserdisc so many years ago. I wish they could release that like a you know a 4K deluxe set or something. I think that's so great. I love when I think we were speaking about this offline as well. I love those moments you mentioned, and then George when they're doing they're out in the snow doing
Yeah.
the winter game stuff. There's a bomb
Curling.
yeah, curling, right, curling, and he doesn't call it a bomb. He called it's you know it's a thing. It's a fiendish thingy. It's a
Yeah.
fiendish look, you know, a fiendish
Off
thingy.
Angie Stingy. Yeah.
Like who's like who you know who says like I remember when you know Siskel and Ebert were gushing in the 90s when they saw Pulp Fiction and they said, "Oh my gosh, a film that uses the word correctamundo in
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction." I feel the same way about Fiendish Thingy in Help, like a film that uses Fiendish Thingy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I can't think of another film that does that. That's great. So that's a wonderful thing. And also and it's very probably it's well not probably it is very politically incorrect to do it now, but smoking
Yeah.
that the when they're doing what's the song and they're you know are you buzzing what is that
You're,
You're gonna lose that
You're gonna
girl.
lose that
Yeah,
girl.
you're
Yeah.
gonna lose that girl. They're just they're like madcap. It's like, oh, we gotta go to the studio or so. They're just doing the studios, and then like Paul miraculously goes from one instrument to like the something else. But to the magic of editing. But yeah, the shot of Ringo,
Yeah.
and it's the light from behind him and just smoke, with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth and just the smoke coming out from his. You could never do that now, but it's
Mm.
just you know I mean, health warnings, of course, to be made, but just my goodness,
Yeah.
the smoking in that it captured some kind of essence that's just I mean, it's amazing, remarkable stuff.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Wong Kar-wai, saw that as a kid and was like, "Oh my gosh, the mood and atmosphere, this is inspiring to me." Or maybe Terrence Malick saw that and was like, "Oh my goodness." Um, yes, cinematic smoke is a beautiful thing, right?
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
it's
Yeah,
it's the close up of Helena Bonham Carter in Fight Club with the cigarette and the smoke is just wafting, billowing. Um, and yeah, are you guys buzzing? Like just the double entendre of
yes,
that,
exactly, exactly,
Yeah. And the
exactly.
fiendish thingy, I think it's even a hard G, a thingy,
Thank you. Yes,
you
finger. Yes,
know?
yes, yes, yes. Fiendish thingy. You're right. You're right.
Fiendish
They
thingy.
they do that a lot too. I mean, I can't get the Liverpool accent down, but it's. I mean, they do the hard consonants when they need to. Like, what is it? What does John say? It's not help, but just generally, John says. I'm going back in the anthology or the recordings where he's recorded the audio recordings where he says like, uh, you know, um, we are just a band.
Yeah.
I asked Paul, "You want to join me band?" He said
Yeah.
yes, and George joined, and Ringo joined. We were just a band.
Yeah.
It made it very, very big. We're just just a band. Just
Yeah. A
you can
band.
yeah, you can listen to all the old records if you want to reminisce. It's just a band.
I
I
know he
love
always
that stuff.
downplays it.
I
Like when
know.
the Beatles are breaking up, he's like, it's not the end of, they think it was the end of the world. Like,
I know.
we're just a band, You can
I
listen to the
know.
old albums if you want to reminisce. And
Yeah.
I love his acerbic wit, like throughout Help, even. Every time they meet someone who's trying to get the ring off of Ringo's finger, like a jeweler or the scientists, played by our favorite Victor Spinetti,
Yes.
um, they're always like, you're a failure, jeweler. You can't do it, can you, jeweler? Or like scientist, you're a failure. You failed, scientist. Like John's always, and he's like laughing sarcastically at them, and yeah, it's like Paul always says how the song "Getting Better." Paul has "It's getting better all the time," and John sighs, "It couldn't get much worse."
That's right.
And that
That's
sort
right.
of balance. I mean, it's perfect that those four people met to sort of balance it all out. Um, but
That's
yeah,
right.
Victor Spinetti, I think they said he was their lucky charm. Like they always wanted him in their films, and he appears in Magical Mystery Tour, of course, as the sergeant or whatever who comes along, sort of like Stanley Kubrick Sergeant R. Lee Ermey or whatever from Full
Oh,
Metal
Full Metal Jacket.
Jacket.
Okay, okay. Oh gosh, Victor Smith oh gosh, in Full Metal Jacket, that would have been something else entirely. That's
Yeah,
amazing. But
with his
um,
gibberish and yeah. But of course,
oh
we love Hard Day's Night. We love Spinetti's sweater in Hard Day's Night.
yeah, that we do. Yes, yes. I love everything about that film. So um, you know, yes, I'd be prepared for that eventuality.
Oh, I'd be
Yeah,
quite prepared for that
for that.
eventually.
Oh,
I
you do
love
such
that
a George. You
section.
said such a great George. Can you
No,
do
I
that
do
that line?
not.
Can you do that? I'm so terrible at it. But can you do that line where he says, he talks about how like Paul is older. He was 9 months older than I. Even now, he's
Yeah.
still 9 months.
Even now, he's still 9 months older than. I'm starting to sound like Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan Kenobi. The
Oh,
Force, Luke.
oh
The
gosh,
Force.
but actually that's interesting. That might get us to another question here, which is you mentioned right George and maybe could have been Alec Guinness or something. But how about this one? So, if you could get the Beatles, the Fab Four, the Beatles, if you could get the Beatles to star in any film, any kind of film, what would the film be about, and who would be the director?
um, they need to do a nice like heist film, like a Martin Scorsese heist film. sort of a good like Fab Fellas perhaps could be the title.
Okay.
Um, since you're goading me on to do my George, I have to ask to hear some Scorsese from you.
Oh
Like,
no.
how would Scorsese direct the Beatles?
Right there.
You know,
Gosh, uh, like
you
I don't know.
know.
Gosh, it would be like, no, like you try to control the set because they would be like, like, no, where's it? We gotta start at 9 p.m. 9 a.m.
Yeah.
They're still sleeping. They're still sleeping. They're sleeping. You ain't gonna wake them.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a picture. Ringo, I want to walk down the street. Walk down the street. Imagine your head. Give me shelter. Give me shelter. No.
Yeah, give me
Rolling
shelter.
Stones. Perfect. Martin Scorsese makes a film starring the Beatles, but uses Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones, yes.
Perfect.
He can't
Oh,
resist. He has to use "Give Me Shelter."
that's great. Yeah, give me
He
shelter
wants,
as Ringo's walking down the
yeah,
street. It'd be so cool.
asking Ringo to move his ring to the pinky finger like a mafia don, and
Yeah.
of course he loves the cigarette smoke, kind of like the Goodfellas. Him, De Niro at the bar, like when he's looking over, Ringo can reenact that. Um, yeah, how Ringo was a sickly kid and spent a lot of his time in bed, and he was always sick. And like Scorsese's like, I had asthma too, and I remember spending all my time in my bedroom and in my bed, and I'd look out my window and see the Goodfellas down in the street. And
I spend my time in the movies, pictures. That's my life.
yeah,
Going to movies, go to see these films.
yeah.
The Secret. Oh, those just movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I
gosh.
love the laugh with the shoulders going.
So, but okay.
Yeah.
So Scorsese and the Beatles. So are there any other filmmakers you could think could do a film starring the Beatles, and what the film would it
Um,
be about?
well, now I am leaning into directors with such personality like Tarantino or something, but um, I mean, I know Sam Mendes is doing something, and I'm curious to see what happens with that. The 4 separate films. Um, I feel like my problem with this is I'm getting off your question. I should stick on the question first, but I do want to talk about Beatles related films like the
Sure.
Sam Mendes project and whatnot, like
Yeah.
later on, and just how
Sure.
it never really scratches the itch I want.
We'll talk
But
about. There's another question. I'll go to that
but
maybe the next couple questions.
but
Definitely.
I like the thing about if Cronenberg directed the Beatles and he, with George's line, they gave them money and they gave their screams, but the Beatles gave their nervous systems. If they really did a body horror film
Yeah.
with the Beatles giving their nervous,
Yeah. They actually merged
yeah,
into one because like right, and then it's like some kind of body horror thing, or I would be just epic,
yeah,
absolutely epic. Or I was just thinking earlier today, like
oh,
it
it's
would be
funny,
interesting to see about who could be a good director for this one. Okay, so you remember from the anthology, there's the episode where they talk about how they go to Japan. And they go to the concert, but before that, they go into the hotel, and they couldn't get out because
yeah,
because it was all so tight, security is tight. The people wouldn't let them out because it was such a big deal. It was super popular, right?
yeah,
But they're saying how like it was was it Mal Evans who said something, John and I got out, right? And
hmm,
we actually went to the market, right? And so something like that. So I would love to have a film where it would be like maybe the Beatles, and then it would be the Japanese police or something.
yeah,
And then let's say do you know the film Cure? Or
yes,
with
yes, yes,
Koji Yakusho, the main
yes,
the main actor
yeah,
from, he would be like the head of the police in charge of keeping the Beatles
yes,
in. But when they escape, he's like so angry, and he's got to like track them down, like some kind of like
yeah,
the like the Moby Dick and Ahab or something like that, and he's just so determined. And just
yeah,
one step behind, and the Beatles are just one step ahead of him. It's like, but he's
yes.
just always trying to like chase them down, or like oh, it'd be so great. Like or like Javert or something, and Jean Valjean.
Javert,
Yeah,
yes.
so just be that kind of serious mode. So who could direct that? I don't know.
Well, I wish we
Uh,
could bring back like Sage and Suzuki or someone to direct that.
oh wow, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
That would be so absurdist and great. Yeah.
And with Cure, wasn't he in the Criterion closet? Didn't he choose Cure and say like I'm in this film?
Oh yes, thank you for mentioning. Yes.
Yeah.
Koji Yakusho. It's my favorite Criterion Closet video, and he says
Hmm.
he picks so many great, and he says, and it's just so great. He picks Cure, and he says, "This is a masterpiece. I'm in this film."
Yeah.
I love that. That's so great. That's so great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that would be wonderful. So okay, Scorsese and maybe I think Scorsese, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Wes Anderson, I think could do a good Beatles film, I think, but
Oh,
or
that's a
starring
good
the
one.
Beatles, yeah,
That's
but
a good one.
yeah,
Um,
but it's or David
I'm
Cronenberg you mentioned, so
I'm working on my Wes Anderson symmetry here with my shot with my two
no,
bookshelves and
I
my
like
little
it
yeah.
very much. I like it. It's sort of
Uh,
a teaser. It's a teaser for the Criterion set next in in September. So
I'm
I
so
was
envious, by the way, that you got to go to the Criterion truck or bus, I should say. Criterion, what do they call it? A Criterion van?
mobile closet, a
The mobile
mobile
closet,
closet.
yes, of course, of course.
That's okay. Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, it's a
that
truck.
is
Yeah.
so cool. It's so cool. And I want that little like candy lab car, that little die cut Criterion um mobile closet. You know that
Yeah,
little yeah,
I got it on the shelf there. They should make little like figures of all the main people in the
yeah.
criteria. They should do that.
I
But
tried to order it online, but it won't ship to Canada, so I'm out of
oh
luck
really?
there.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's too bad. That's too
yeah.
bad. They should try
But it's
to
so
do.
cool you went to do that. That is so awesome. I'm so happy you went there, and that was a great video you made. And
Oh, thank you.
it must have been such a fun day. Like
Oh, it
you're
was
among
great.
your people, our people, you know?
Yeah, it was great. It was such a great time. It really was, and it just flew by. It really did.
Yeah.
And I think I think I seem to recall someone maybe one or two people picked A Hard Day's Night as they were coming out of the van there. So good on them for
Mm.
picking that. But okay, or how about this for the next question? So um, let's see. I know you mentioned Sam Mendes. I want to get to that first, but before that, how about this one? Let's say. Um, Okay, very quickly. Okay, just a little bit of film related, but which Beatles song would do you think would be a great James Bond film title and or title song?
Ah, okay.
And now it's kind of a maybe a trick question, there's a already connection between James Bond and the Beatles or one of the Beatles, post Beatles, of course, but yeah,
Hmm.
please. What do you think would be a good fit with James Bond films and the Beatles?
I mean, maybe it's fresh in my mind because we mentioned it earlier, but happiness is a warm gun. That sounds
Oh.
that sounds like it lends itself to the early 60s or like the, sort of the Roger Moore era James Bond, like a bit of the double entendre, and you got to mention the gun also, and um, it's a
That's a
little
good one.
coy. Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, happiness is a warm gun.
that's the
That's
first
a
one that comes to mind.
interesting.
Um, what else could there be? That is a good one. And I know you like the Roger Moore era too, and I like that era too. It's so nostalgic for me, like View to a Kill and all that. Um, or Moonraker. I
Yeah,
love that.
that's a
Um,
great one. Maybe how about this one? There's um I don't know about the title of a film, but I always loved the sound of I Want You, She's So Heavy
mhm.
and on Abbey Road. And
Yes.
I think it's too long to have like a James Bond song, but if they cut it a little bit and I think that would be just a great kind of very very hard-edged and also very quirky one. So I like that as a possible song title. Incidentally, too, there's a film, a James Bond film, the first of the Daniel Craig films, which is called Casino Royale.
Mhm.
And the song that they have in Casino Royale is called "You Know My Name."
Oh, really?
Yes, that's the name of the song. So it's
Wow.
you know my name, da da da. It's just this
Wow.
rock and roll type of James Bond song. It's great. So I'm waiting for that YouTube video of someone, maybe it exists and I haven't found it yet, of someone taking the James Bond Casino Royale title sequence. like plays
Hmm.
a song, but just instead of the song, you know what I mean, they put in the Beatles song,
Yeah.
You Know My Name. I would be, I just, I can't quite imagine. I'm waiting for that YouTube video, whoever's
Yeah,
gonna
that
make
must
it, but
exist. I mean, that's
yeah.
on you now. You have to do that.
Oh my
You know my
gosh, yeah.
name and look up the number,
Yes.
which I think they like so many Beatles songs were titles were found in newspapers and books and things. And I think that was like a Yellow Pages ad, like that exact quote, you know my name, look up the number, was from a Yellow Pages ad that Lennon saw.
Oh, really? Oh,
But
that's
that
such,
song and I always some for some reason link that to What's the New Mary Jane as being just these sort of outliers that are great little curiosities, that are rarely talked about.
yeah, I think so too. Yeah, yeah. It's just so weird. It's right.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
yeah.
But yeah, so there's You Know My Name. And of course, what's your take on, I mean, it's not a Beatles song per se, but what's your take on Live and Let Die? I mean,
I love it.
you mentioned a little bit of you mentioned, Paul McCartney and Wings and Band on the Run earlier, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Live and Let Die is one of the songs I sometimes fantasize about putting together the the last Beatles album. And we're spanning the duration of their whole subsequent career. But if we could pick and choose a few songs from John, Paul,
Hmm.
George, Ringo can put Photograph on there or something. But Live and Let Die is one of the ones like to make a great final out. Maybe I'm Amazed. I would put Junk on there. You'd obviously have Imagine, Jealous Guy, songs like that. And Live and Let Die, I think, is really a special achievement for sure.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned Junk. I love that song. I love
Yeah.
that. I love Junk. I love let's see, what's the one? Uh um what's the one on Ram?
Ram, I
Monkberry,
love.
yeah, Monkberry Moon Delight, and
Yeah.
but then also you have to put, if you put that on, you have to put John's How Do You Sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh uh or what are some other, what about George? What are some George solo songs you put in there from
Like it's, All Things Must
all
Pass,
right,
My
exactly.
Sweet Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I love, first of all, I love Ram. I love Ram.
me too.
Um, and when Paul gets raspy like Monkberry Moon Delight, Oh Darling, that kind of vocal performance is just or even a bit on I've Got a Feeling. I love his raspy voice.
Yeah,
His
me
his
too.
versatility is amazing, eh?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's I mean, that's what he brought so much, but that's one of them. Yeah, I think yeah, I've got a feeling. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And what
I'm looking for them just like you, right? And then
just
the
like
yeah, yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah,
And he's telling
yeah.
you, he's like,
That's
it's
right.
not like this, like that. It's not
Yeah,
up here. And then you gotta,
exactly.
and
Exactly. That's
and
so great.
the film Get Back, it's I could choose to look at it and say, oh, it looks all AI and have that
Yeah, yeah.
that
Sure. Yeah.
waxy look. But I'm way past that, and I just love it. Like it might be my favorite Beatles film because
Really?
at this point because
Yeah.
I love in this. I'm a musician, right? So I love in the studio stuff. I love
Yeah.
songwriting, process videos, and
Yeah.
it's so thrilling. I mean, it's I don't know 9 hours long or something. It's not a first watch for someone. If someone's never watched a Beatles film, watch A Hard Day's Night. But Get Back is just, and it sort of rewrites history from Let It Be, where we all thought it was
Yes.
like this crumbling
Yep.
friendship, and it was so sad. And this shows them having fun, and it's not just when I think people say, oh, when Billy Preston came in, then it really rejuvenated. But they were having fun horsing around before
Yep.
that.
You're right. You're right. That's what it shows. I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love it. I thought of the film because you were talking about Paul's, raspy performance on that, and you see them sing the song so many times in a day, and they still have that energy, and their voices aren't getting blown out, and it's so impressive.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Yeah. It's I wouldn't recommend it as being the first one to go to.
Right.
if you're new to the Beatles, but definitely, yeah, it's yeah, I agree. I was overall I was also very impressed with it. So, but yeah, okay. Oh, so uh, yeah, the by the way, before I forget, what's your favorite? What are your favorite moments from the rooftop concert or concerts, I should say?
John messing up the
I may
lyrics.
too. Yeah, I was gonna
Of
say the same
course,
thing.
it's
Of
so
course. Yeah,
obvious,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Don't let me do. I'm going leak, 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 lop, leak, gloop, chiboo. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And he kind of does like he go. You know, his go-to mess up default when he messes up is like goo 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 goo. That kind of like why
Yes.
am the walrus kind of like stuff. So that's
It's
so great.
very
Yeah,
if you know
yeah,
James Joyce, it's very Finnegan's Wake,
yeah.
where you sort of
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
complex, whatever. Um, yeah, and I mean, even like their wardrobe, Ringo's up there with that red. I'll call it a
Yeah.
Mac. It's almost like a raincoat, and Paul's got that. I love Paul's look in that era too, with the longer hair and the beard. He's got that white shirt with a black suit, like when he's
Yep.
sitting and playing "Let It Be" and "Long and Winding Road" later.
Yep.
Um, and every many of the people, including their friends in that film, are wearing these really furry
Yes.
Chewbacca or like
Oh,
the
yes.
Wampa or the Ewok sort of
Yeah.
skins, pelts. Um, but I love when Paul they first pitched the idea to go on the roof, and the camera kind of slowly zooms in on Paul going, "Oh, this could work,"
Yeah.
and it cuts to him like climbing up the wall on the outside, and
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that's the same moment for me too. That I mean, I think for me, "Don't Let Me Down" is probably it could be the song that I listen to the most of all the Beatles songs. I think that song is just I yeah, I think that's probably the song. Maybe that or Julia, but
Oh,
that
nice.
yeah, yeah, "Don't Let Me Down" is just it's there's just something very nourishing about it for me that I can't get it. And just the way that he messes up the line is just classic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And of
yeah,
course, Ringo's like, "Oh, I wish the cops had pulled me off."
that's it. Yeah,
It would have
yeah,
been,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
He's
would have
like,
been
oh,
better,
yeah, yes,
yeah.
but
And I
noisy.
love
You
the,
gotta turn that sound. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and in
yeah.
one of the documentaries, maybe Above Us Only Sky. No, 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 no. It was maybe it's an anthology where George is saying like, I mean, if you want to go on the roof, I'll do it, but I don't want to go on the roof
Yeah, yeah,
with the
yeah.
chimney and all these people,
Oh, George.
Yeah.
God bless him.
But
So
all the
great.
fan reactions, man in the street style interviews, and it's all
Yes.
great stuff, eh?
Yeah, yeah, and the what like I just love the yeah, just the diverse reactions,
Yeah.
which is part of the point of this anyway. It was great. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not totally unsympathetic to people who are bothered by the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so but yeah, I mean, it's nice to have something free for a change. That's one of the people say, I think. So,
And they don't
but
even get to see it, right? So they're
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like,
someone's
yeah,
working, like
yeah,
doing someone's
yeah,
taxes and
yeah.
crunching numbers, and then they just, what is this, this
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so oh, that's great. So
And just the
uh,
thing that they could have played in, like, let's go to, I forget where, like, let's go to Italy and play in the part, not the Parthenon, but these grand ideas of playing in these old Colosseums. And they say, you know what, let's just go up on the roof. And it's such an iconic thing now.
I know.
Like doing the Abbey Road cover, like, let's just go outside and cross the street. And it's
Yeah,
so iconic.
I know. I know. I know. And it's very clever because it just gets at the heart of what just the sort of the almost like a the sort of I don't know, the Britishness of it, for lack
Yeah.
of a better phrase. I mean, it's so great. It's such a great choice. But
Ringo doesn't want to travel,
yeah,
Ringo doesn't.
yeah,
He goes
yeah.
to India with a suitcase of Heinz beans,
Yes,
He,
exactly. Yes, yes. There's a plug for you. Yeah, yeah, that's great.
yeah. And they even
Um,
show them in the studio. It might be in Get Back, I can't remember, where these are grown, well, they're so young, they're not even 30, but they're grown men, and they're
mhm.
still serving George like beans out of the can with a piece of bread on the plate, a little cup of tea. Like, they never got too big for their britches. They always were kind of that working class band.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. So, oh, that's a great, but you mentioned earlier, just also about, you mentioned Sam Mendes a little bit. So
Yeah.
I guess that'll bring me to my next question, and you can also bring this to Sam Mendes and your reaction thus far to the news. I mean, obviously, right now, none of those films has been released yet as of the time of this recording. But
Mhm.
okay, what about this? So here's the question that I wrote, and you can take this in any direction you want, which is name any actors in history, any actors in history that you'd love to see portray the Beatles in a biopic film,
Oof.
and who would be, let's say, who would be directing those, etc. So yeah,
Oh my
take
gosh.
that in any direction that you want.
Yeah. Gosh, Hollywood spends decades making these decisions, and I have 30 seconds. Huh. Well, I mean, just to preface it, nobody can do it justice. I'm always, I find these projects to be unfulfilling, unsatisfactory because it's just I'd rather spend time watching Beatles footage. I mean, the film Nowhere Boy with the young Aaron Taylor Johnson, I thought was close. But things like Across the Universe or Yesterday, that film,
Yeah.
I mean, you want to have some popcorn and sort of feel nostalgic, fine, but they don't do it for me. I don't really get a kick out of those films. So the Mendez Project, I like Paul Mescal as an actor. I love After Sun, um, but um, yeah, I think they're all talented guys. It'll be serviceable. It'll be a fun project to see these four films.
How does that
But
work, the four films, by the way? I'm ashamed to admit I don't, I'm not quite uh up on all the details. I know very, very broadly, but so four films, is it like, what is it? Is it like the Marvel Cinematic Universe where each, no, I mean, right, each film is
yeah,
its own little like beetle, like each film it's, Iron Man and then Captain America, and then they all come together in the Avengers at the end? Is it something like that? So like, is it like that, or is it just a progression?
that I'm at the same place you are. I'm not deep into what's happening. I sort of have pulled myself out of trying to get, I don't want the spoilers. I don't want things on films anymore. I used to go deep and try to get every nugget of information as a film was in production. But then I find I get my hopes so high and then sometimes I'm let down. So, for example, One Battle After Another, P.T. Anderson's new film that's coming out soon with DiCaprio. That's a marriage, a perfect marriage. I'm very excited to see that film, but I haven't researched anything about it because I don't want to
Mm,
know. And I love Thomas Pynchon, the author, but
mm,
I don't want to. I just want to be surprised. So same
mm.
with this Beatles thing. I don't know. I do think it's a film about John, a film about Paul, Ringo, and George, and then no pun intended or pun intended, they come together probably. But
Oh
I
my
don't.
gosh. Okay.
I yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But
Wow.
hey, you said it first, so I had
Yeah.
to I
Yeah.
had to jump on that. But I don't know if it's going to be from different eras. That could be
Okay.
interesting. I don't know if they're going to be telling the same story, like the making of Sergeant Pepper, or if it's like young
Sure.
John, older this. Um, but of
Or
course, I'll
could,
be there, and
yeah.
I'll yes, please.
Interesting. Oh no, no. Maybe it's also maybe like four different films or four different perspectives. So it's like Rashomon.
Yeah.
So it'll
Yes.
be, in one of the films they'll have, like they'll have who was the person who decided on them, abandoning the leather jackets.
Yeah.
Right? Was it right? So so and was it Paul or was it, I don't know,
Brian
Brian
Epstein.
Epstein, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So maybe one film it'll be Brian, and then another film it'll be Paul, or maybe I don't know. So maybe from
Yeah.
different film from different characters or different person's perspective. I don't know.
I love
Yeah.
Paul talking about that too. He's like, I'm not saying it was my idea to put on the suits, but I didn't really have to drag them along with me. Like he always has to get credit in there.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so
But I
great.
love him.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul's my favorite. I know it's not the popular answer. John's the cool one. Um,
Sure.
but Paul's my favorite. He's my favorite musician who's ever lived. I think the Beatles are the greatest pop cultural thing that's ever happened in history. And Paul's the head of the snake. He's the one. Um, we lost Brian Wilson earlier this year. He's another huge guy for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paul's the one.
Yeah. I love the anecdote that he gives about Hey Jude. and saying about the line, the movement you need is on your
Mm.
shoulder, and he's playing it to John. He's like, oh yeah, it hasn't been finished, and he says, yeah, I'll get rid of that, and he says, you won't, that's the best line in the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I know what it means. Yeah,
Yeah.
you done so perfect. Yeah, and then he says, right, that's the moment when I think of John and get emotional when I sing
Yeah.
that. It's great. I don't quite know what it means, but it's really great. Yeah.
I
So,
thought of it as like having a chip on your shoulder, and the
mm,
movement you need is on your shoulder. Like, let that chip off your shoulder go.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
McCartney always he tells the same stories over and over and over decades, right? And that's so John, and he's always like
yeah,
kind of rubbing this side. He's got these little affectations, like the way his head moves, and he's kind of rubbing
yeah,
his nose, and
yeah,
that's so John,
yeah. Right. And oh, it's great. And it's just like the story. I love the story he says about Sergeant Pepper. And it was released on a was it it was released on a Friday, and on a Sunday, right? There's nothing, and Jimi Hendrix opened
Yeah.
Sergeant Pepper. You only had the Friday to learn it. Yeah, I love that. I love that bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it was
Yeah.
great. Yeah, so
And there's footage of that too. How great is that? I mean, think of, we don't have footage of Beethoven. We don't have footage of
yeah,
Paganini playing his 24 caprices. But we have footage of Jimi Hendrix playing the Beatles,
yeah, in a different key. I love it too. It's great. Yeah.
and this is
Oh,
like 10 years after Buddy Holly or something, right? So look at the progression in
yeah.
guitar playing, and just like what an explosion of artistry the late 60s were. It's insane.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, but then going back to the biopic. So,
Yeah.
who would be who could be the actors you think in your mind that might
um
try to portray it? And I know it's a tough question, maybe
yeah.
unfair of me, but
How dare you?
yeah. So I apologize.
Yeah, I think
And you can go for like remember Anthony Hopkins played Nixon.
right. So I
So
could have a young Wallace Shawn playing
yeah.
Ringo with
That'd be so
it.
great. That'd be so great.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. And you can go in history. You don't have to stick with, let's say, the actors of the moment, for instance, but you can go in
Right.
any time period or any decade
Um
period of history or cinema you want.
Let me think.
Okay, let's start with one. Let's go. Let's think of it together. Let's go. Let's
Okay, I
go with
like this.
let's go with George. Let's speak with George. So let's think of George.
George.
So what kind of
We need
demeanor?
a dark,
Sure.
um, dark bedroom eyes, quiet, um, kind of like maybe like
Mm.
if we had a more, well, it's difficult to say certain
Yeah.
words on here, but I want to say like a more, let's say a tougher Anthony Perkins, I'm thinking about George's eyelashes, and we could have um
Oh, I think Anthony Perkins might be an interesting choice.
it's
I really, yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. No, I think it's an interesting
It's
choice. Yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh, it's interesting. Okay, that's a contender. Okay, that's it. So Anthony Perkins
That's
is a
ridiculous.
contender. Okay,
Um,
so that's one contender. Who else could be George?
mm,
I would say I'd throw it out there. Maybe we're casting agents thinking about who could has
yeah.
George in our film. Okay, Anthony Perkins, we need to think about. Okay, what about and you can take it or leave. You can totally disagree with me. I think in his, let's say, spaghetti western phase, I think Clint Eastwood might be
Okay. Okay.
could do something. And now, the accent, of course, we'd have to get a vote, maybe a
I like
dialogue
this though.
coach.
There's a chiseled thing going on as
Exactly.
well.
There's yeah, I'm thinking of the physique. I'm going from the physique in my head of George's physique. And I
A
think,
qu-
yeah,
a quiet intensity.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that
yes.
works. That works.
Okay. Any other candidates here for
Now I
George?
want now I want to see Eli Wallach as Ringo, but hold on. For George,
Wow. Wow.
um, Clint Eastwood is good. That is good. George. I don't have too much dead air here while we think.
That's okay. No, that's okay. No, no, that's fine.
It makes me
Six.
think of the old Little Rascals thing when they go like this. They say, "Think." Then they say, "Think harder."
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's okay. It's a John Cage moment.
Beautiful reference. Mm, Hmm. God, these guys are so distinct and unique. It's hard to. They're ineffable. Um, they are inimitable is the word I'm looking for. They're inimitable, right? You can't replace them. They're not imitatable. They're um,
Although many have
substitutable.
tried, I think. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So how about okay? How about let's see. Um,
And this is the kind of game I love, by the way. And when I go to bed tonight, I'll be like, I won't be able to sleep because I'll be playing this game. Um,
let's try to think one more candidate from each of us here for George.
yeah.
I like that four. So,
Um,
and it can be anything. Even the unexpected ones is fine as well.
yes.
So,
I'm trying. Yes.
yeah, I you might wince at this one, and I'm not it could work. It could work. Never say never, but um I think early 70s Pacino,
Okay.
maybe. I'm
Like a
saying
little
early, yeah, early 70s
panic,
because yeah,
panic in Needle Park era
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Pacino.
yeah, yeah, just yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So or maybe
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So that could work because he could borrow something of the gravelly voice later in his life to for those those older sort of uh you know kind of short-tempered interview bits from George, I think, and like he's still 9 months older than I, something like that.
or he
But
could have the young voiced Pacino in Godfather when he's
right,
having a row with Paul, saying,
yeah.
"I'll play what you want. I won't play if you don't want me to play. I'll do whatever pleases you."
Oh, it's so great. Yes, exactly. Yes. Whatever, yes, whatever, please, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Oh, that's
I'll
great. That's
if
oh,
you
it's
want me
okay.
to
It's
play. Yeah. For
oh,
that
that's good.
alone, I'll cast him. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
Any other
Gosh, shame.
candidates?
I know. I'm trying to think. Who else has? Um. mm,
No,
oh my gosh, people are, and you should be. Whoever's watching this, they're shouting at your screen right now, saying, "It's so
sure,
obvious, so and
sure,
so."
sure.
Um.
We can always come back though, if you want.
Like.
We could. You want to move to another one? You want to move to
Yeah.
another
Okay.
Beatle?
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
go back. So
And
we
as
have
they
okay.
come, I might.
Sure.
You know,
If anyone
an
pops into your head,
epiphany.
yeah, for George, just mention it on the spot. That's not a problem. So let's go
Yeah.
to okay. Let's go to John. John.
John has to
Yes.
be. Um.
Yeah.
Um. I mean, James Dean has the dark glasses, dark frame glasses like these.
Sure.
Um,
But could James Dean? Do you think he could pull off the sort of the in his own right type of uh, John Lennon? The type of whimsical, wry humor.
yeah,
Oh, well done, well done, very good, very in his own right. Thank you, in his own. Well
yeah.
done.
Original copy from the day. Of course, my
Good for you.
parents. Yeah,
Good for you.
followed
In
up
his
with a
own right.
Spaniard in the works. Come on,
Well done. Well done.
from 1963 or four, Oxford, London.
Good for you. Well
I've
done.
got them all. I got a bunch of things here. I got a
You're
lot of
great.
ephemera.
You're great.
Um,
But Jameson, I think he'd pull it off. I think he could.
but does he have that witty, silly side of John? Right? We've never
So,
seen.
yeah, that's
John is very silly in the early days. Like he's really acting up on stage, and um,
maybe a
uh,
comedian. What about a comedian? Like
right,
like Jim Carrey. I don't know.
like how he's done that turn with
Sure. Sure.
Man
Maybe
on the
that's
Moon and
too
stuff.
maybe that's yeah, maybe because of
Um,
maybe that's too on the nose. Maybe.
but someone like what's his name? Is it Tim Robinson from I Think You Should Leave? I don't know if
Sure,
you know
sure.
that show.
Sure, sure,
Got a
sure.
Lennon-esque face. Mm, mm,
I'm thinking of comedians now.
Yeah.
So, so I mean, they could be British comedians, but they don't have to be. Um, um, Maybe a clean shaven Billy Connolly.
Oh, he could be George Harrison. Or no,
Oh,
not
actually,
Billy.
yeah, okay,
Or no, I'm
okay.
thinking of Billy Crudup.
Oh, Billy. Oh, yes. Okay, okay,
That
okay,
could be George Harrison.
okay, okay.
Clean shaven Billy Connolly.
As John
Okay.
Lennon. Okay, so okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. I like
Um,
Crudup for Harrison. Billy Connolly. Yeah, a clean shaven Billy Connolly.
how about also for John, a possibility would be Christian Bale as John
Yeah,
Lennon.
I mean, he can transform into Dick Cheney. He can transform into John Lennon. I mean, this guy's a chameleon.
Yeah.
Um, I like that. I mean, when you were talking about comedians, I was thinking of Eric Idle from Monty Python could do it. Kind of a Ruddles thing, but taken more seriously.
Wow.
Um, a I did like Aaron Taylor Johnson as the young John in Nowhere
Sure.
Boy.
You can choose that as
Um,
well if you want. Entertainment with Johnson, that's
but
fine as
we've
well.
seen that.
Or Jared Harris.
Jared Harris, yeah.
Yes, yes. Two of us, if you know that one. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Um
it's like what everyone's been waiting for, you know. Ari, yeah, 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 whatever. Yeah, it's great.
Did he play Warhol, Andy Warhol in something? I think he might have too, right?
Really. Jared Harris, I
Um
really wow. I'm not sure he's it
hmm.
wouldn't surprise me if he did. It's first, or how about maybe even Jared Harris would be good, or Richard Harris, I think also. Yeah. Richard Harris
Yeah.
as or how about Oliver Reed? Oliver Reed as John Lennon.
Oliver Reed. Oliver um hmm. Mm, hmm. It's a fun game.
Do you want to move to another one?
Yeah. Okay.
So we have few contenders for John, a few contenders for George. Let's go then to Paul.
Yeah. He's such a distinct look, eh? His face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
Who
with
would
Paul,
play, yes, who would play Paul in the biopic?
I'm thinking I have one. It's what's his name? Um oh my god, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. The Scottish actor. He played the bellboy in Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh yeah,
Alan
Alan
Cumming.
Cumming. Yes, yes. Oh, that's a great
I
choice.
like that one.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great choice.
There's a look, there's a effete nature.
I like that.
Um Alan Cumming. Um
So you Eyes Wide Shut. How about Tom Cruise? Sorry, no, no, that's okay. No, no, okay.
yeah,
That's okay. You can
but
disagree. You
if
can
if he's
disagree.
on board with the project, we'll find a spot for him.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
As Alan Klein or someone, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
that would be so great. Yeah, yeah.
Neil Aspinall is it? I love how Neil Aspinall, by the way, is always like we.
Yeah.
Like you watch the documentary, and he's
Yes,
like,
yes.
you know, we had a real hard time in Japan when we put
Yes,
out
that's right. I
Sergeant
said
Pepper.
what did I say? I said Mal Evans before. No, it was Neil Aspinall. That's what
Yeah.
Neil Aspinall said. Yo, but John and I got out. Yes, of course.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
messed up the name. Yeah, not Mal Evans. Neil Aspinall. Yes,
And they
exactly.
went shopping in Tokyo or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
But you
yes.
know how like Neil Aspinall is always it always seems like he's like,
Yeah,
well, when we were recording the White Album, we it's like, well,
yeah,
hold
yeah,
on,
yeah,
like, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
yeah.
like yeah, so the story about them going leaving escaping from Tokyo, right? It was that they it was right, but like it was the Beatles who were like cooped up, but he's like, but John and I got out.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so yeah, so Neil Aspinall, yeah, but he always
Yeah.
includes himself in the
Yes, he
group there.
includes
Yeah, yeah,
himself with such
yeah,
gravitas.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but so maybe yeah, so it could be then that that uh um uh Tom Cruise could be Neil Aspinall. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's hilarious.
All right. So,
Um,
but yeah, I'm sorry you're saying so are we set on maybe I think Alan Cumming would be
I
great
like Alan
for
Cut, but
okay.
we continue to pursue this.
Okay.
If you
But
have
then
someone else who comes to mind with that,
no, let's see. Well, I mean,
who's got an affable nature? Someone like if we're going comedians, I'd like to see a serious turn from Rowan Atkinson, a young Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean as Paul McCartney.
wow. Wow, that's amazing.
That's absurd.
That's amazing. I mean, it could work.
And he
It could
doesn't
work.
speak for the whole film. He just does his Jacques Tati thing.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Or maybe oh gosh, I don't know, like oh gosh.
Um,
Gosh, like maybe one more name out there. Maybe someone that's got that. Um. Oh. Oh my. Oh
um,
my. This is really hard,
it's
actually.
difficult, right?
This is really hard.
Um,
Because there are a number of names that appear, but
right.
oh gosh, maybe. Oh, this is really difficult.
hmm Um, mm,
I mean, I have James Bond in my head now, but I'll put in Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan, yeah, possibility
okay.
of Paul McCartney, but I like Alan Cumming, the choice of Alan Cumming actually. That actually, yeah, I think that is a nice fit. So
For Pierce, what how did you land on Pierce?
I think I'm thinking of GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan.
Okay.
Yeah, so because I think he could do I think he has this sort of kind of affable charm
Yeah.
that's very natural. I think part of Paul McCartney's so natural an organic charm, I think. But
And I feel like I know I remember you saying he's got a lot of great kind of chin acting too, right? Doesn't he have a lot of great were you talking about like his jaw is
oh yeah, like Pierce Brosnan, right? So maybe he could be like, when he's like, I don't know, when he's talking about, oh, yeah, and Jimi Hendrix, oh,
yeah.
with Sergeant, and you only had the
Yeah.
Friday to learn. Oh,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm sorry. This
Yes, I
sounds
love
so
this
terrible,
stuff. I love
but
this stuff.
anyway,
Not
so
since
that,
Charlton Heston had someone
yeah.
acted with so much chin.
But so that there's that. So, but okay. What about Ringo? Ringo Starr.
Ringo, we
Yes.
could have I do like the Barry Keoghan casting. That could work. The one
Yes.
who's doing the Sam Mendes film, but
Yes. Yes. Yes.
someone like um mm, a um
This is really tough.
yeah.
Um, because also,
Someone like a Dominic Monaghan, you know
oh,
Dominic
okay. Yes.
Monaghan.
Okay. Okay.
Um
Okay. So there's a nice sort of Beatles, Lord of the Rings connection there as well. So,
yeah, he's kind of a
okay.
diminutive,
Sure.
can be funny, kind of charming guy.
Okay.
Um, um, Lord of the Ringo, yes. I hate myself. Um,
I'm going to go with another kind of maybe just maybe unexpected one. Okay. How about John Travolta? John Travolta in
okay.
yeah, John Travolta maybe Look Who's Talking era John Travolta as Ringo Starr. I think you could do it. I think you could do a really good job.
I mean, why?
Um,
People didn't believe in him for Pulp Fiction. Let's bring him back
exactly,
again and put
exactly.
him in for
Yeah,
Ringo.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
let's put Steve
yeah.
Guttenberg in there for Ringo. He's got
Oh,
that
I think
kind
that
of,
like good. I think that's a good choice. Yeah,
you
like
know,
yeah, complete, short circuit era Steve Gutenberg. I
yeah.
think yeah, that's really good actually. Um, or uh, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I have two other potential candidates for Paul McCartney. Is that okay? I just
Of
remembered. Okay,
course.
so okay, um, Andy Garcia,
Mm-hmm.
or let's see, maybe late '80s, early '90s era Johnny Depp.
Okay. Yes. Um, yes.
I
I
can
mean,
tell
no,
by your
no,
reaction.
no. I need time to process things. I need time to
It's
process
okay. No, no, it's okay. I
because I'm
understand.
I'm going down the facial. Like, I mean, Andy Garcia has the brows, the heavy lidded, doe eyes. That works.
Yeah,
The thick black hair. He could
yeah,
definitely do it. Andy Garcia is not bad.
yeah.
Um,
What?
and
Yeah, Johnny
and
Depp.
Johnny Depp, circa like after Nightmare on Elm Street, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. So like maybe Crybaby era
Yeah,
Johnny Depp. Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel my only hesitation on Depp is I feel like he takes himself so seriously.
Okay.
Um, I mean, maybe McCartney does too, um, but no, he's too affable. He's too like poppy and bright. And I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Johnny
I'd
Depp
have to,
maybe has a kind of slightly brooding aspect to it, to his
yeah,
performance, perhaps. Yeah, yeah,
and yeah, like yeah. But I see what you're saying. I mean, he's a fine actor. He's close to the look.
yeah.
Um, and I need to visualize them each with a mop top, and that helps sell it to me.
What about, yeah, and then
Um,
you're going back to Ringo. Ringo here.
Ringo. Mm,
We left at Steve Gutenberg for Ringo.
yeah, that's
So okay,
ridiculous.
okay, okay, okay. So
Gutenberg's likely watching this video too. He's like, "Oh my god, please let Spielberg see this."
it's directed by
Um,
Steven Spielberg. It's great. And then
yeah,
you mentioned
yeah,
earlier Eli Wallach perhaps as Ringo Starr if Clint Eastwood is George
yeah.
Harrison. Okay.
And we could have Robert Zemeckis direct it, and it all takes place in a locked-off shot at Abbey Road Studios,
Oh my
and it
gosh.
goes through the eras of all their albums being recorded.
But prior to it, yeah, like prehistoric period to it. Right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay, I
yeah.
see. Yeah, okay.
A
All right.
Tyrannosaurus
Yes.
Rex flies
Right,
or runs by humming
right,
the opening to Strawberry Fields
right,
Forever, and it's
right.
um, I love that in this film too. The first U.S. visit,
Yeah.
there's a moment where John's on a melodica or something, play like you blow into this little organ, and he's playing the opening notes to Strawberry Fields 3 years before they ever record that song.
Oh,
That's kind of,
really? I don't
yeah,
remember that. I mean, I remember seeing the film in the theaters, and I also had the DVD.
yeah,
And that was the one where you saw them. One of my that was where they performed in Washington D.C., right?
yes,
One of the performances, and it was like the thing where it was like the stage like turned to
yes,
face a different side of the
yeah,
right. There was like in the center and like all the audience,
yeah,
right? So it was. I love the performance, the live performance they did in Washington of "I Want to Be Your Man."
hmm
And I think the mic for Ringo was a bit distant from his mouth, so he's a little bit fainter in his but than the others. But
hmm
you can still there's close up. I wanna be your
yeah.
lover. That's that really that seeing that really uh, made me just love that song so much. So
There's such
um,
great energy in that era with Ringo too. When you watch him perform in that first year, all those many performances, he's just so
yeah,
animated, eh?
yeah.
And that makes me think of him dancing in Hard Day's Night when they sneak out and go to the club, and he's got that dance where he's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. And then George does the little hop, like
yeah,
looking at his toes and hop with the beautiful woman sitting here, but he's looking at his
yes,
toes. It's so
yeah.
great. Yeah. And then what is it? Paul's like like something like that. Yeah.
And he's
In
sitting with a
yeah,
beautiful model, like
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
showgirl
yeah.
or
Gosh,
something.
yeah,
And that little
yeah.
hop
Amazing.
makes me think of when they sneak out into the back field and it's "Can't Buy Me Love." and they all have, it's a really running, jumping, and standing still,
Oh, sure. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
callback. And Ringo has that little, they'll jump into the air, and Ringo has that short little hop.
Yeah. Oh, yes, exactly. It's so classic.
Yeah.
But
Hard Day's
but
Night is amazing. I mean, I wish, ideally, like, I wish we could sit side by side and watch A Hard Day's Night and just like second by second be like this, because there's so many things in every film, right? That it would take us 4 hours to discuss just
oh,
one
that's a good
film,
idea. We should try that. I think that could be possible, like a running kind of like yeah, just like still images and seeing it, just dissecting. That's a good idea. Maybe we should try to do something like that
Yeah.
one time. I think that'd be fun.
Like,
If I
if I lived in LA, I'd pop over and be like, let's do a quick episode, let's do a quick conversation, and put on something, and just,
Oh gosh, that would be so awesome. Just and then
yeah.
freeze frame it and just be like react to it. Yeah, like the reactions. Yeah, like the YouTube reaction videos, like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
kind of thing.
That's
Yeah,
our
yeah,
thumbnail, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, reaction
Uh,
videos.
but yeah, reaction videos to A Hard Day's Night. That would be,
Yeah,
yeah, that's probably the next thing.
that's funny.
But who would be setting aside the casting for a moment? So then, who would be the director in your ideal world of a Beatles biopic?
Well, I love your thought of Wes Anderson. That's very interesting. Um, yeah. Mm,
That's a tough question. I know.
I mean, I'd almost want Robert Altman to do it and really go into all the B characters.
Oh, that's such a great choice. I didn't think of
Yeah.
that. That is such a great choice. Like Nashville.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a great choice. That is, I love that. And it's like
Oh,
all
great.
building towards the final concert.
Yeah.
Oh
And we
my
get into all
goodness.
the other side characters' stories and this whole pastiche of.
Oh, that's such a great. I love that. That's such a. And now I'm thinking of Robert Altman. People who've appeared in Robert Altman films.
Yeah.
They could be in the like Keith Carradine and Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's such a great idea. I didn't
Yeah.
think of that. That's perfect. Robert Altman's perfect for a Beatles film.
That's great. I love that you like that answer.
So, and
Um,
then you just say it would go into like the other people in the orbit of the Beatles orbit. Speaking of
yes.
which, while we're on the topic, it was one of the other questions I had was, we mentioned a number of people who are in the Beatles orbit, like Neil Aspinall and Brian Epstein, Brian Epstein, you know, or what is it, on the telephone call in the the manager's name is Mr. Brian Epstein.
Yes,
Brian
yes,
Epstein. Yeah, I love that.
yes.
But
His secretary or whoever,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
and Mal Evans and everyone. But
yeah.
what is the what who in your head, in your mind, is the fifth Beatle?
George Martin.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay.
Yeah,
Horses,
it's inarguable.
horses for courses. George Martin.
Horses for courses. I
Yes.
mean, his contributions are, it's not Murray the K, the radio DJ who came. It's not.
Right.
It's George Martin, and I love
Yeah.
Mal Evans as a character. He's a great character. I, maybe
Yeah.
cast Seth Rogen as him or someone, but um, uh,
George Martin is so great, by the way, in the anthology. He is
oh
so
yeah,
great. He is so great. He's like he's like he takes, John out to the roof, not
yeah.
realizing he's on a, like an acid trip. And it's just like, it's like he says, he looks up, aren't they, looks up
Yeah.
the stars, aren't they fantastic? And George is like so like glums, like, oh, they just look like stars to me. It's just like, or something
He's
like
so
that.
square,
Yeah. Or like
Yeah,
I love the line he talks about Billy Preston, right? You mentioned Billy
yeah.
Preston earlier, and I hope I
Mm.
get this right. So Billy Preston, he mentions how there's so much friction among the Beatles, and he I always got you know, um, he was what he called Billy Preston. He referred to Billy Preston as he was like an emollient. He was an
Yes.
emollient that lubricated the friction.
Yes, an
I love that.
emollient.
Yes, I love that
Great
phrase.
memory.
Yes, right.
You,
Is that what he said about Billy Preston?
yes,
Okay, okay,
100%. I remember it as
okay,
clear as a bell. And
okay.
I've always been so impressed with how you can retain these things. And I I love that because nobody is as you know the details of these things. Your retention's
No, not
amazing,
at all. Not at
and
all.
I aspire to that when I'm reading literature. When I'm reading, I like to be able to recall these things years later, and that's I don't want to just read as many books as I can in a year and check them off my list. I want to spend time with them and do an intertextual comparison and comparative film and all these things.
Yeah.
And I love that you're there. I mean, emollient. No, not one
Yeah.
person on earth knows you said that, but you.
Really? Oh, really? Oh, I'm so like, and like,
Yeah,
and I didn't know the word at the time, emollient, and lubricate the friction, and
yeah,
just like a very little part of me was kind of like Beavis and Butthead, that kind of thing, just
yeah.
I could know, and then just it was just,
I
oh, it was
love
so great, it
that.
was so great. It just
I love
there's,
it.
but you're right, there's so many George Martin moments,
Yeah.
um, and what is it? Right. Like, oh, Ringo to this day still carries those scars. You didn't let me play now, did you? Or something like that. Or you
Right.
couldn't, you didn't let Ringo play on Love Me Do at
Yes.
for a time or something. Oh, George Martin is, I think yeah, I think, yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, George Martin all the way. There's, uh, yeah, he's like on a totally other level, I think.
Like he's
Without,
playing harpsichord solos. He's arranging string parts.
yes,
He's the sounding board. They're
yes,
asking him, "Do you have another instrument? Here's a French horn." Like
yes.
he's really the fifth Beatle.
Yes, and I love how much he gets a kick out of he's replaying some of the tracks
Yeah.
for A Day in the Life.
Oh, it's
And he's saying, what was it? He was saying there's something like correct me
sends
if I'm, yeah.
shivers up my
Thank you,
spine.
thank you. That was one of the, yeah, the opening moment of John's vocal, right? Um right. I read the news today, right, right. Even in this early track, he has a voice which sends shivers down the spine. And
Yes.
he gets such a kick too, about a kick out of how John does the count in when he says, Sugar
Yes.
Plum Fairy.
Yes.
You can see there's such a twinkle in his eye when
Yeah.
he gets a kick out of it, how he remembers that from John. Yeah, you're right. George is so great.
I mean,
Yeah.
that moment, like he is getting a kick out of it. But for me, when I think of that moment, it makes me cry almost. Like the
Mm,
camera's slowly zooming into him, and he's
mm,
just, thinking back to something only he and those four guys experienced that no one can understand, like being locked in a room for 12 hours for
yeah.
6 years straight.
Yeah.
And just like his, like, oh, he's just listening. The funniest moment of George Martin in the anthology is when they talk about All You Need Is Love, the live satellite broadcast, another first that they do it around the world, this first live broadcast. And Paul, or I don't know who starts, but Paul says, or no, I guess George Harrison might say, like, I think John wrote that song specifically for that. Like, we needed a song for this live broadcast. And so I think he might have written it. And Ringo says, "Yeah, I think John wrote that specifically for that." And Paul's like, "Oh, it might have been one of the songs we had kicking around, I think maybe, but yeah." And he goes, "Maybe George Martin knows." And it cuts to George Martin. He's just
He does
like he doesn't know.
silence it.
Doesn't say, yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
editors were having fun on that documentary.
Yeah. He was. Yeah. Or what was it? What was the guy they were talking about? Um, like he gets such glee out of how much of a failure, like Magic Alex, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He gets such glee, right? Like, right, he says,
Yeah.
well, he said you could build a better studio. Well, he did, something like that. Well,
Yeah.
he didn't. Yeah. um
And George
uh,
says, "I think the only thing he ever did was, I think he had a toilet with a radio in it or something."
right, exactly. Yeah, but the Neil Aspinall says, but the actual studio itself was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Neil, good old Neil Aspinall, yes, with his hats. It's
He
great.
is has when he
Yes.
built the studio for us. It's not for us.
love it.
Stop
I love it.
including yourself.
Exactly. I love it. Oh, it's so great. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
But so he's the fifth Beatle. He's the fifth Beatle. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
and what about, maybe just riffing a bit off of the films. I mentioned too about, Beatles appearing in films. And then, what if they appeared in this film with these directors, or who would be cast in a Beatles
Yeah.
film here? What about some of those other films? I mean, I mentioned a few already, but what about, there are many different genres. So there's the genre of Beatles who appear in the films. There's also the genre of films that have been inspired by the Beatles,
Hmm.
and there are a ton of those. whether they, maybe use of music or maybe people portraying the Beatles or maybe some riff on the Beatles in some way. I mean, there's so many, maybe too many to mention them all. But what are some of the examples? Maybe like Beatles, like biopic, like people portraying the Beatles early on in their careers, or maybe people using Beatles music in the films,
Hmm.
etc. What are some of those examples for you of films that work for you like that?
Well, quickly now I want to see Peter O'Toole playing George Martin in the film, but
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that's so perfect. That's so perfect. Oh my
Just to
gosh.
interject, just to interrupt, I'm sorry.
No, that's so great.
Or someone,
Wow.
so you had like yeah, he came to
Wow.
mind. That
I also,
um,
do you remember, I'm so sorry to, but do you remember the bit where he's taught George Martin? It's not the Beatles, but he talks about the album that he did with all like the actors that he gets to like sing the Beatles songs. So, it was like Jim Carrey singing I Am the Walrus, and I think Sean Connery sings In My Life. Um, and there's a
um,
documentary or little interview that George Martin does about, how he made the album, sort of a tribute album using the Beatles songs with all these
mm.
various actors singing. And he's like, "Oh, there are some actors that I would love to have seen have maybe brought in, maybe it just didn't happen. But what if we had Charlton Heston come in and sing, happiness is a warm gun or something like, oh, George, I didn't know you had that kind of like
Uh,
comic streaking. Oh, good for you, that kind of thing. Or maybe
yes,
he was
yeah.
like deadly serious. If so, that'd be really interesting.
Oh, that's yeah,
Happiness is a warm gun or something.
yeah.
I don't know. But anyway,
That's
I'm so
perfect
sorry.
casting for the
Yeah.
head of the NRA or whatever he
Oh
is.
my
But
gosh. Oh my gosh. But anyway,
um,
yes, I'm so sorry.
and
What
but
so
what was
yeah.
that project that he was doing all the actors?
Yeah, well, it was released as a CD. I want to say like mid 90s or so after the anthology. And so I mean, I don't forget, I don't remember all the songs, but I do remember Jim Carrey singing I Am the Walrus.
I don't know how
And
that escaped me. I don't.
and
Yeah.
and Sean Connery singing, In My Life in a kind of kind of William Shatner spoken word type of manner,
Yes. Yeah.
there are places there are places I remember in my life, though some have changed.
Yeah.
Yes, some have changed, So it's sort of that William Shatner vibe. It's really, but Jim Carrey goes all out. He's like, he's really great. It's like that kind of, it's
Oh,
great. You got to check it out if you can. It's great.
100%. The
Okay.
second we log off, I'm looking
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah. So I forget who else was singing on that album, but it was a very interesting period.
Was there? Did
So
Liam Neeson do something on there? I feel like Liam Neeson did some kind of spoken word song.
are you serious?
Um, yeah.
I'm looking up now. Um, I don't know.
I don't know if it's that
I
or.
typed in Liam Neeson Beatles, and like the AI overview says
Oh
Liam
God.
Neeson has expressed. I know, yeah. Liam
Yeah,
Neeson
yeah,
has
yeah.
expressed the film Taken made him feel like he was one of the Beatles.
Mm.
So that's what I'm getting. So I don't
It
know
may
if,
not have.
yeah.
It may not have been the Beatles. Like it may have been something else. Like I'm sure he did. Like he read some. I don't know Sinead O'Connor lyrics maybe or something. But
There you go.
some
By
sort
the
of.
way, by the way, before I forget, here I just pulled up the album by George Martin is called In My Life. That was it, In My Life.
Okay.
And it had here we go. Come Together with Robin Williams and Bobby McFerrin. And then
Okay.
a hard day's yeah, this is great. A hard day's night with Goldie Hawn.
Okay.
A day in the life instrumental version featuring Jeff Beck on guitar.
Okay.
Here, there, everywhere featuring Celine Dion. Yes,
Okay.
because with Vanessa Mae on violin. I Am the Walrus featuring Jim Carrey on vocals. Here Comes the Sun with John Williams on guitar, classical guitar. Bringing for the benefit of Mr. Kite, Billy Connolly.
Okay.
There's also a rendition of Pepperland Suite, and then Phil Collins on drums, percussion, and vocal for Golden Slumbers Carry That Weight in the End.
Okay.
There you go. And then In My Life featuring Sean Connery. Yes, there you go.
That's got to be
There
the
you go.
highlight.
Oh,
Um,
great. Yes.
and the two things
So,
I take from that are one is I would cast a young Robin Williams as Ringo Starr.
oh, that's so great.
I
Yes,
like
yes.
that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to say was, shoot, who else did you just mention?
Just now.
Yeah, there
Uh,
was
was it Celine Dion?
No.
Bobby
Um,
McFerrin, Jim Carrey,
no.
Billy Connolly, Phil Collins.
Or maybe, oh yeah, Phil Collins. That he's in A Hard Day's Night as a kid in the
Oh yes,
crowd.
yes, that's right. And he's in one of the documentaries. He says it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're absolutely right. Yes, yes,
And I
well done.
saw somewhere that they said, "Oh, Dick Lester makes a mistake of a cameo." There's a shot at the end when they're performing, and it's a low camera tracking behind Ringo's kit. You see Ringo's feet and his legs, and it's shooting out towards the audience, and you see Dick Lester kind of scoot across the stage. Um, so that's great.
Oh, it's
You
his own
know,
Hitchcock moment.
with Spinetti's sweater, and they're like, "God, do you think?" And I love all the asides, the kind of ADR overdubbed in Help and Hard Day's Night. The Beatles just like these quick asides, and it's like, "Oh, do you think his wife knitted him that sweater?" I don't think he has a wife,
Yeah,
but
look,
she may have knitted it for him, or like,
yeah.
yeah, she knitted him, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, I bet his wife gives, I guess wife gives her hell. I don't think he has a wife. Look at his sweater. Like,
Yeah,
don't say he probably knit for him. She knitted her, or he knitted him, or something
yes,
like that.
well
Yeah, something
done,
like that.
well
Yeah,
done.
yeah. I forget. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're absolutely right. That's so great. Those asides. But
there's so many little asides, and the
uh,
way they, there's so much to dissect.
uh, that is the going back. So sorry, I interrupted you. But going back to the earlier question, which was some of those Beatles inspired films.
Oops.
So sorry, that was
Beatles
my
is
fault. I interjected so many times.
no, 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 no. And I also thought of I'm not going to get to this now because it's an earlier question, but I'll bring it
No,
back up later
no, no, no.
about
Go for it now. Go for it. It's okay. It's okay.
just about it. It almost I could almost shoehorn it into this question, but really it should have been the answer to a previous, which was Beatles like appearing in other films and stuff. It's the Rock and Roll Circus that I like a lot.
Oh yes.
You
Okay.
know that with the Stones and
Yeah.
Eric Clapton and
Yeah. Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix's drummer. So that's a whole other thing. And now your host for this evening, the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Um, Beatles related stuff. Yeah, see, I mean, my mom really loved that movie Yesterday that came out a few years ago, and she's like, I really
Mm,
want to take you to see it. So I went
mm,
to the theater with my mom to see it, and I mean, I've to thank her for introducing me to the Beatles in the first place. She was a huge fan. These are all her records and 45s and books, and we saw it. And so the experience of going to the cinema with my mother is 10 out of 10, no matter what, right? Every moment spent with her is 10 out of 10. Um, but I had some problems with that film. Like there were things like, oh, everyone forgets the Beatles songs and everyone forgets Coca-Cola. But I mean, I can't remember now actually, but I remember at the time I had issues like, well, then, but why do they remember this? And something, the logic was kind of all over the place with that one.
mm,
Um, I mean, on paper, that's kind of a fun, it's a cute short story idea or something. I mean, that might be the one I like the most. Like, I don't like the like Across the Universe and things like that. It's too insipid,
mm,
or it's too saccharine, or it's too, I don't know. And everybody asks me, "Don't you love Across the Universe?" I'm like, well. And one thing I want to see is the Cirque du Soleil stage production of Love. I've never seen it. I'm
yeah.
curious to, I know the songs kind of mash up and weave and things like that. That could be a fun experience, but um, I mean, everything's, substandard. I think I just want the actual footage. I want the,
Yeah.
you know.
What were some of the
How do you feel about those kind of
the
inspired films?
oh, there's so many to pick, that could go in many directions, the answer, for example, maybe how a Beatles song might be used in a film.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, if that's the case, I might have mentioned before, but I really love how Beatles songs are covered in the film or for that soundtrack. I really love that as well. Gosh, why? I Am
I
Sam.
knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that, and it has some of the great my favorite covers
Right.
of songs, um,
Mm-hmm.
like the cover for like Julia and is it Ben Harper who does Strawberry Fields Forever? I forget exactly, but
Mm.
it's yeah, but Wainwright does what's it, Across the Universe or so. So I think I hope I got those right. But it's that's one thing. And I mean it's kind of adjacent, but I you mentioned it earlier, but I love how like Live and Let Die is used in the film Live and Let Die.
Yes.
Um, it's just it just incorporated into the film soundtrack,
Hmm.
which is really great. And then maybe Beatles inspired films or there was an earlier film with do you remember this film Backbeat?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Stephen Dorff, if I
Yes, Stephen
remember
Dorff. Yes, that's right. Stephen Dorff and um um
right.
I'm totally blanking.
um,
Uh gosh. Gosh.
I can't remember either.
No, no, no,
He
no.
played Stu Sutcliffe, I think, right?
Yeah, and but it was um uh gosh, this is gonna I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
look it
totally
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so on.
I haven't thought of that film until this moment, and that was kind of exciting to go see at the time. I remember.
Yeah,
Um,
and it was Cheryl Lee. Yes. Cheryl Lee and she played Astrid.
Astrid.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. And Stephen Dorff was Stuart Sutcliffe. Yes. So that was I thought that was a really interesting kind of still in the early 90s or early to mid 90s. So that was something where I was still discovering the Beatles, but it was kind of a one of the first of those types of films that I saw. And I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't know. It's not the greatest film I've ever seen in my life, right? But it has a kind of earnestness to it, which I think is really great. And I love the performance. They don't look like the Beatles because that you mentioned it before. It's a little bit hard to
Hmm.
mimic, but there's a type of org. I think Cheryl Lee, who played Astrid, I think there's a physical resemblance that's is pulled off really nicely. I think when you see the pictures of their time in Hamburg, especially. So
Hmm.
um,
That I had forgotten about that film until you mentioned it, and I would put that on the side of that one I liked.
mhm.
I need to see it again. And I remember I saw Nowhere Boy in the theater. I've mentioned it earlier in this
Yeah,
conversation. I want to see it again, but I remember those two. I was kind of like, okay, I like those ones. Backbeat was cool too because we're focusing on Stewart. It's not like we're not watching a bad John impression necessarily for an hour and a half.
right, right,
So we
exactly,
can suspend our disbelief.
exactly.
Um, and I like that era in their story too with Astrid, and she's like this artsy photographer and
Yes, yeah.
helping them define their style. Like, what a great! They have the perfect story. It's yeah.
I
Uh,
agree. I agree. It's just, I mean, you couldn't have written it better, it's just, I mean, it's kind of in many ways just a perfect sort of story with so much drama and
yeah,
betrayal
yeah.
or would-be betrayal and just twists and turns. My goodness, it's really quite stunning.
And the
Uh,
tragic end of John's life, like the ultimate advocate for
uh,
peace getting gunned down, like the irony of that, or
yeah.
it's just like that feels so scripted. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's gosh, and I mean the it wasn't in the any of the or it wasn't in the anthology obviously, but Paul's reaction, you can he got a lot of flack for his reaction when his public reaction.
Yes,
When an interview asked him, how do you feel? But you don't ask, it's like
I know.
yeah, right. It's that I think that's like that's the Paul thing because when you especially when you watch the anthology, you realize that he puts up this armor, to sort of protect himself because and it's almost like it's that like almost an overachieving sense of success that he always wants. That's almost like his armor to be
Yes,
like to protect himself. Even, you see it in that clip you mentioned it before with like when they're having their little tiff him and George and Let It Be.
Mhm.
And he's like, all right, fine, I'll do whatever you want you to, and I won't play if you don't want me to. Whatever is what'll please you, I'll do it. And you notice at that moment when George is there, like just shout, like I guess it's not really shouting, but in Beatles terms, he's shouting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Paul just starts to like just like turn his body away and like fiddle with an instrument or something. He's just trying to protect himself.
Right. That's a great
Uh,
observation.
yeah. So and he just maybe just wants to avoid it directly and just wants to protect himself. So
Mm.
I always found that to be very, very relatable and very understandable from a sort of human level. Um, yeah. So I think Paul's great in that way, really is, and
Mhm.
he's very relatable in that way too.
And like you say, how can you answer that question so soon afterwards, you
Oh
know?
my gosh, yeah, just some random reporter,
Yeah.
and then you of course you're gonna get criticized for it. Anything you say is gonna get like criticized for
Yeah.
that. But gosh,
Yeah.
you know that there's just so much that he was thinking that you couldn't just sum it up in just a quick sound bite, But
And it's such a shock. It's so traumatizing that he's not even thinking. It's like maybe it hasn't even hit him yet. There's so much to process.
yeah,
Best friends since they were like whatever 15 or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
took
But
over the world together. Just
and very complicated relationship, very, very
yeah,
complicated. But that's just the nature of it. You can't just unpack that, right? In a
yeah,
few seconds, right? In the
right.
mid right after this huge, huge event has just hit you, right?
And what can he say that does it justice? Like, oh well, we lost someone special. Like, he can't answer
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
They
But
couldn't even they couldn't even talk about Epstein when he passed away. Like when they talked to George and John and Ringo in the street, they're like, we only just heard a few hours ago. Like this is just, you know,
yeah, and it's just and he's just a beautiful fella. It was just terrible. Yeah, it was just terrible. And you
yeah.
just look at the shock in John's eyes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
yeah, it's just a beautiful, yeah, it's just really shocking. Yeah, gosh, gosh, and
Yeah.
then and then of course, like after that, it just right, like then it turned into Apple. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then right, yeah, you realize just how important Brian Epstein was
Yeah.
in their things, and when he was out of the picture, then it's just kind of like like they'll just spin it like a top and see what happens,
Yeah.
and
And
that's
when they
exactly what
show
happens. Yeah,
and
yeah,
when they show the Big Apple, the building with the big mural by the Fool, that art collective,
yeah.
and then they were told to paint over it white, that breaks my heart as an artist.
Oh yes,
Like,
of
because it
course.
was such
Yes,
a beautiful, colorful thing. And
yes,
I talk about that even in my city, and just I feel like across North America, cities are so they could use more beautification, and everything's so gray and square, and we don't have European architecture. Things get torn down and at strip malls, and so it was sad to see that mural go down, the Fool.
yeah. You're right, but I think they did the best in a tough situation. I think with what they needed to do. But you're right. I
Yeah.
remember that. You're absolutely right.
And then they
Uh,
shut down the boutique and said, "Come grab what you want for
yes,
free."
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
But only one item per each customer. Only one item per each customer. You couldn't take two in the spirit of the thing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But they cleared out the place.
Yes, yes. But what did Neil Aspinall say? But we all went the night before and
Yeah.
got what we wanted, or something
Yes.
like that's what Neil said.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He's always
so
sneaking around, sneaking out in Tokyo, sneaking out in Apple Core.
that's great. That's so
Yeah.
but this has been a kind of like I can tell, and I think people who are watching this near, I know that they can sense how much you love the Beatles. And we've touched upon a number of things today. I want to just give you a wide enough berth here, just to maybe say or explain or talk about, which is my final question here, which is uh, uh, what do the Beatles mean to you?
Oh my gosh.
Uh, and
Yeah.
that's what I want to hear. I think we've gotten a sense of it already, but
Yeah.
if you want to further articulate or express this, the floor is yours, my friend. So, what do
Oh
the
my
Beatles mean to
goodness.
you?
They mean so much. I mean, to me, as there's the family connection with my mother.
Hmm.
I am a musician. They mean so much to me in that regard. I mean, oh, it's it's beyond words. They mean I've loved them for decades, and it never gets old. It's amazing. The stuff is timeless. It still sounds so innovative. They still look cool. Like it's not like they had dated eras and you look at it now and it's kind of cringe or embarrassing. They still look cool for 6 or 7, 8 years straight. It blows my mind they did so much in that short time span. It's unheard of, the different looks, the different eras, the evolution of the music they made. In such, I mean, people who are, just, I don't know if you want to say fair weather fans or not hardcore fans, they're blown away when they hear the Beatles really. They came to America February 9th, 64, and then they were broken up by 1970. And look what they did in those 6 years. That's insane. So they mean everything to me. I still listen to them regularly. I still get giddy talking about them with you. I'm nostalgic looking at my mom's and dad's records. Um, it's amazing it was never repeated. Nobody ever topped what they did. It's a special moment in time. I mean, I can't even. It's just so huge. It's like, who's your favorite band? The Beatles are the obvious thing on top of everyone. They're not even number one on the list. They're like beyond that. And then we start talking about David Bowie and different people. Um, like I said, I think they're time travelers who came back and took all the great ideas. It's just amazing. I feel so lucky to have seen Paul McCartney live in concert with my mom.
No
Yeah.
way. Really?
Yep.
When was that?
Got the program right
Oh,
here.
no
Yeah.
way.
Um,
That's so
this
cool.
is the Off the Ground tour. If you remember the Off the Ground album,
That's so
which,
cool.
yeah, so that was a special thing. And talking about, we don't have footage of Beethoven or Mozart or these people. I got to see McCartney live, and we still can. Isn't that amazing? They're still running around on stage, full energy. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I mean, I wish I were born a few decades earlier so I could have seen that stuff. Imagine in real time getting, Sergeant Pepper, like, what is this? And you put it on, and I'm from Ontario, Canada, and he's wearing an Ontario provincial police badge there. Although people wondered, is it officially pronounced dead? The whole Paul is dead thing we haven't talked about, which is
Oh,
such a fun rabbit hole.
I know. I know.
um,
I know. Could you imagine just listening to Sergeant Pepper? Do you remember listening to Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band for the first time? I don't. I
no,
don't. Yeah. It's like I like it's the same thing with me and like I don't know, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. So
yeah,
I can't remember watching that for the first time or
right.
so the same thing with that or the Beatles albums. I can you remember listening to them for the first time? I
No,
don't. I don't for me.
no. I remember the record player with a quarter on the needle because it was just too, it was somehow warped or pushed up, and we had to put a little extra weight on the needle, so we taped a quarter to the needle.
That's so cool. Just the right
Yeah,
weight for the pressure. That's
yeah.
the Oh,
But
that's so
Psycho,
cool.
yeah, that makes me think of didn't you give like a presentation in class and like possibly traumatize some girl who had never seen the film Psycho?
You
Like, and
remember,
then,
so I'm so flattered that you remember that. Yes, yes.
oh, yeah,
I inadvertently traumatized someone in one of my high school English classes because I showed the ending to Psycho and I thought
yeah,
I was so naive in that I thought everyone knew the ending to Psycho because I thought everyone saw the film Psycho like I did, but I was wrong.
yeah,
So yeah, so I
yeah,
kind of yeah. So and
yeah.
I remember her name. Her name was Tarsha.
Oh,
Tarsha, I don't know what she's doing now, but I just remember she screamed and she just covered her eyes. I
yeah.
felt so bad. I felt so bad. But
She's running a motel somewhere, I'm sure. And,
okay, yes. Oh my gosh,
she
and
has to confront her fears,
oh
right?
my gosh,
So,
I must have yeah. I don't. I hope I didn't change her life for the worse because I
yeah.
showed the ending to Psycho. But yes, I was. Thank you for remembering that. But I'm very
Yeah.
flattered. But the
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I can't remember when I first heard the albums, but I think it was. What was was there a moment for you with Beatles that clicked that it just clicked for you? Like I can remember it was something that clicked for me. Like it just turned into something. It turned into that moment that this is something that I love because my mom and dad listened to it a lot. They just listened to it like um uh there are some moments that really clicked for me that made oh my gosh it really this is something that now I can love on my own, that
Mm,
kind of moment. Like for me, it was two moments. The first moment was when I heard Bananarama's version of Help. And then the second, it's real true. And then the second moment was when I first heard "I'm Only Sleeping" in
Oh,
on Revolver, and I was just so mesmerized. But I couldn't believe what like because it was one that you didn't hear so often on the Red album or the
yes.
Blue album, but you had to kind of search it out if you wanted to think of Revolver, and so Revolver didn't get a lot of play by my parents at the time. But when I
Mm.
when I caught up with it and just listened to it straight through, it was just it was like it was like like I'm only sleeping just for one day in Japan. I remember I was in Japan and I was just a little boy in Japan. I was just listening to it. And it wasn't the first time I'd listened to it. It was just, but I was listening to it and just something about it clicked. It just
Mm.
clicked. And then I just felt, oh, this is a band that I think I'm gonna enjoy for the rest of my life. It was that. So Bananarama and I'm only
That's
sleeping for
hilarious. Bananarama, that's hilarious. And I'm only sleeping. It's not the kind of theme or lyrical content you heard in other songs at that time. It was it was so personal, so different, so um
yeah,
and I guess maybe that started with Rubber Soul, like I'm a Loser, or songs like that, where or
yeah,
Nowhere Man is kind of
yeah.
like the invention of emo, the first like
Sure, sure.
personal, not She Loves You, I Want to Hold Your Hand, I'm Happy Just to Dance with You. This was like I'm Only Sleeping, I'm So Tired, these songs. I mean, that was
Yeah,
later, of course, but
yeah.
I'm Only Sleeping is not on this original one. I have two copies here, and I'm Only Sleeping is missing here on this version. Um, anyway, it's just a fun little side fact.
Wow, wow.
Um, so I don't remember when it. I guess songs like A Day in the Life was kind of like a
Yeah,
wow, they could do something like this.
yeah.
That was, but I don't remember a specific moment where I was like, this is my band speaking to me. But A Day in the Life was a huge turning point for sure. Love John's portion, love Paul's portion,
Yeah.
and of course that orchestra going from their lowest note to their highest note, that
Yeah.
climax, and
Yeah.
the final note, bang.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I do
Um,
remember. Or there's one other I might have mentioned this too earlier. I forget, but there's one other one that you mentioned your mom, right? And
mm,
there's one my mom loved the Beatles. And speaking of Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, she loved the song When I'm 64.
yeah,
I love that song so much because she loved
yeah,
it so much and she played
right.
the piano and then there would be a bit like um what uh then Vera, Chuck, and Dave
Yeah.
send me a postcard, drop me on spending points of view, indicate precisely what you mean to say. You're sincerely wasting away.
Hmm.
That line, and I love my mom. Rest in peace. I love God bless her, but she would always get that line wrong when she sang it.
Mm.
You're sincerely wasting away. It wasn't. She wouldn't sing that. She'd always sing, you're sincerely wasting my time. And so so every time I hear when I'm 64, and I just like when that part comes up, it's
Yeah.
kind of like yeah, it's kind of like when Paul mentions movement is on your shoulder for Hey Jude. It's like, oh, you're sincerely. I
Yes.
just I just mouth it to myself, wasting my time, because that's what my
Oh,
mom used
that's
to say.
beautiful. I
Yeah, so
love
yeah,
that.
so when I love when I'm 64 because of that. And also there's a song too that like when I was in college, I was so shy and I was like just trying to like kind of like ask someone out on a date, ask a girl out on a date, and I was just like so nervous because I was like, what can I do? Because I'm very shy by nature. But the song that
No.
helped me to sort of reinforce just my courage was what was it? Lovely Rita. So
Hmm.
lovely Rita. So because it was the line, lovely Rita. You know what I mean? May I inquire discreetly? Would you be free to take some tea with me? And
Hmm.
that was what I thought in my
Yes.
head. Would you be free? Because if you can sing it so sweetly and it just
Mhm.
rolls off the tongue, it can't be that difficult to sort of ask someone out. So I was like, oh, would you be free to take some tea with me? And so it was great. And and so at the time I remember, yeah, I went out with this very lovely young lady, and we had it didn't turn into anything, but it was just a nice, lovely time, and it was very friendly, and we were still friends at that. Not friends now. I don't know what happened to her, but yeah. So that was lovely, Rita. It helped sort of
Yeah.
help me with my confidence with so asking someone out for a date to tea.
It's amazing what can inspire you, right? A song like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
everything they sang about was peace, love, and understanding.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it does have an effect on especially young people. Like it did inspire you to do that.
Yeah.
Would you be, I mean, gosh, if she were the right girl, if she responded by singing the lovely Rita chorus, your heart would have melted. And
That's
like
right.
you're the one,
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It
And
didn't quite
talking
work
of,
out that way, but still, it was a nice step in that sort of direction. So I thank lovely Rita. Yeah.
yeah. And talking about the wasting my time reminds me of my sister used to say, I think it's at the end of I'm the Walrus when it kind of goes off into that cacophonous, you
Hmm.
know, yes, you are, no, you're not, da, ba, da, ba, da, ba. Is it that song where the piano's like, dun, 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 dun? I can't sing it, but there's like a bum note McCartney hits or John hits in there, dun, 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 dun. And my sister used to say, every time he plays that, I feel like I think he's going to play it right, but he doesn't. He always misses that note. And it's like, it's a recording, you know? It's
Oh, that's
so
so cool.
cute. Yeah.
That's so cool. It's so cool how those little like personal touches can come out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel yeah, it's great. I just have to one other question if you don't mind.
Yes, of course.
I don't know if Apple Music.
Hmm.
Apple Music, they have the, digital albums. Revolver's album on Apple Music has the eyes blinking.
Yes.
How do you feel about I'm so creeped out by it, to be perfectly. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know. It's so creepy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that reminds me of like when they were doing the album cover for Imagine, like Klaus Vormann or someone who in our Nashville Robert Altman telling
Oh
of
my
the
gosh.
Beatles, Klaus Vormann will be in there, who did the Revolver cover.
Yeah.
Someone was shooting John's portrait for the Imagine cover, and Yoko suggested, let's cut out the eyes and put clouds behind it. And they looked at the mock-up and they were just like, it's too creepy. Like, no, it's way too creepy. And I feel that way about these Apple Music animated covers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, is that like, I don't know. It just feels weird. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. Yeah. But,
And they all have that. Like there's wind blowing on certain covers, or,
uh,
yeah.
yeah.
Like take Paul's advice, let it be. We don't need to update everything with this
Yeah.
uncanny
Yeah.
valley nonsense.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah, I mean, back, gone are the days where it was just enough to have like the little car, whatever is the slide projected onto the wall,
oh, I love
and then
that.
it was, yeah, you know where I'm going with this, right? And
Yes.
it just accidentally like tilted, and
Oh,
like, yeah, oh, do I
yes.
like that? Yeah,
Yes, I
rubber
love that.
soul, yeah, yeah, don't, right?
I
That's what I
love that
mean. Yeah,
anecdote.
yeah, yeah,
Like they just had luck on their side, eh? Or
yeah,
they had great taste. They knew what to select.
yeah,
They knew
yeah.
when something was presented to them that that's the thing to go with.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. It was just enough. It was just weird enough to catch
yeah,
your eye, and it
yeah,
was still inviting. You could still recognize
yeah.
the faces, but it was just warped enough, right? And they said it right. It was perfect. There it is, rubber soul, right?
And I think Paul says, like, we found a shot that we all liked the way we looked in it, and yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
around here somewhere, of course, right?
Oh, please, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Tisk tisk with the cinematics. Look, that's if that's not a young Clint Eastwood, I don't know
Thank you so
what
much. Thank
is,
you. Thank you.
Um,
That's great. That's great. So,
yeah.
so you have the last word here. So, Beatles and Danny. So
Oh
there
gosh.
you go.
And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. I mean, what a great way to end their output. Um, there's so much. I mean, I have 30 pages of mental notes that, and I'm sure you do too, that we haven't even touched on and we'll think about later and revisit. But thank you so much for having me. It's a fun um, parallel conversation. Like, you talk about cinema and this is sort of a fun little offshoot of that little off ramp. And thank you so much for including me in this. I am an Uber fan, always will be. And this was a pleasure, it was a joy, and come on, it's such a joy. Um, yeah, thank you so much.
Because that's what that, right? Except that the bit about the monkey, that's what Maharishi would always say.
Right? Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So. but you have a
Yeah.
much better George Harrison impression than I do. So I can't do
No,
that as well as you do. So, oh, but
no.
thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
you know, um, uh, yeah, let's see.
It's just so
Um,
fun to talk to someone who has this appreciation as well, you know?
no, not at all. My levels of expertise is very, very low when it
No,
compared to
that's
everyone else, including
nonsense. No,
yours.
no,
So
no, no, no. You're so
so
humble. You say that about cinema itself. You're like, "Oh, I'm not an expert. I'm not, you know." You're so knowledgeable. It's
not
you're
at
too
all.
humble.
Not at all, not at all. So I'm always inspired by you and your sort of uh, endless well of energy.
Oh gosh,
So,
no, no.
but thank you so much. So,
Yeah.
but I guess we'll end. How shall we end this?